run the ball. Maurice Carthon, who helped the Giants win 2 Super Bowls, will block for Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, and you said it right on the head, Crick. It's Maurice Carthon blocking. He probably will not carry the ball more than 3 or 4 times, but that's his job. He did it for the Giants. He can do it for this team. And I think this is what the Colts have to do. Get back to some basics and execute. That's going to help George.
New England gets some good news on defense. All those linebackers like Tippett and Singleton who've been hurt are back and ready to go. But the Patriots, or the Colts, have some serious problems on defense. Their great rookie Entman is out. So is the linebacker Corey, at the 2 top picks in the last draft.
Well, when you talk to the defensive coordinators here and the people at Indianapolis, these 4 guys are the big part of the defense. And you got 2 of them that are going to play. Herod and Bickett are going to play, but they're both hurt. Entman, of course, and Coriat are out.
There is Scarnecchia, who has taken over for Dick McPherson in his absence. And the good news on Coach Mack is that his surgery went extremely well at Mass General Hospital a couple of nights ago. He's resting for the most part comfortably, but the doctors are extremely optimistic about the outcome. And of course, every player and coach in the Patriot organization wants to extend their very best to Coach Mack, as we all do. There is Ted Marchibroda, who is in his first year as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He did a great job with the then Baltimore Colts, leading them to 3 straight AFC Central titles in the mid-70s when Burt Jones was his quarterback. He turned around a losing Baltimore Colts franchise the first year he was there, and so far he's turned this one around. The Colts, with those just 1 victory last year, they already have won 4 games. And Marchibroda told his team yesterday at practice, if we win tomorrow, we'll be 5-5, and who knows what can happen. Paul Zolak, the gentleman in the crew neck sweater, is the father of the starting quarterback for the Patriots, Scott Zolak. Paul Zolak's most famous quarterback, though, isn't his son. It's Joe Montana, who he coached at Ringgold High School outside of Pittsburgh.
That's not bad, huh? I think he did a good job with him, and we'll find out what kind of a job Scott's going to do. They get the ball first.
They say that Zolak has all the attributes except experience. He's only played like 20 downs. Now Biasucci is ready to kick it off as New England has 2 men back, John Vaughn and Michael Timpson. Well hit ball, knocked down and going to the end zone, and John Vaughn lets it, he'll down the ball, take it out of the end zone for the touchback. And the Patriots will start an offense 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. So big Scott Zolak from the University of Maryland, one of 4 quarterbacks from Maryland who will start in the NFL this week. He played behind Neil O'Donnell of the Steelers until his senior year. When O'Donnell left, he played 1 season as the starter for Maryland, had some big wins. Played virtually, didn't play it down last year as a first-year player with the Patriots. First down at the 20-yard line as Zolak hands the ball, and it is given to John Stevens, and the Colts throw that back. John Vaughn starts at running back today. Badly banged up is Leonard Russell, though he's in uniform. Stevens will be a blocker for the most part, although he got the first carry. Fryer and McMurtry, the starting wideouts. Marv Cook at tight end. There have been changes in the offensive line because of the injury to Bruce Armstrong. Pat Harlow's now gone to left tackle. Top draft choice Eugene Chung is at right tackle. Redding, Chilton, and Williams in the middle. Here's a pitch back. Running with the ball is John Vaughn. On a cutback, he gets nothing at all. On a 2nd down and 8 play. Taken down at the 23-yard line by John Hand. The front 7 for the Indianapolis Colts include Sam Clancy, Tony Siragusa, and John Hand. Chip Banks, Scott Radisick, Jeff Herod, and Dwayne Bickett back the line. Bickett playing with a badly pulled hamstring. They didn't know if he'd go until this morning.
Well, Bickett's not going, and we were told just moments ago that he would go. It was announced here, but he is not going to be able to play. It looks like Tony Walker is the linebacker.
6 defensive backs on the field now for Indianapolis. 3rd down and 7 coming up for the New England Patriots. Zolak stands in, running out of time. And he is completely out of time, back at the 9-yard line. John Baylor coming on a strong safety blitz, got him.
Well, the one thing about Scott Zolak there, I mean, he's got to learn one thing. You do not have this much time in the National Football League, and I don't care who you're playing. He was waiting for people to get uncovered. Michael Timpson, number 83, was the only guy he really had a chance to throw the ball to, but he was man-to-man coverage. And now we're taking a look at Mr. Zolak. He's, oops, not happy. Well, you got to block, but you can't stay in the pocket that long and think that you're not going to get hit.
Clarence Verdun is back awaiting Sean McCarthy's punt. McCarthy will hit it from around his goal line. There is Clarence Verdun. He's a threat to break it. Has not had a great year so far. Verdun runs the ball across the 50, breaks it inside the 40, and no sooner said, and Verdun does break the big play, and he takes it in. 43-yard punt and a 53-yard return for a touchdown.
First of all, Trick, the punt wasn't that deep, and Verdun had excellent blocking downfield, and the only problem is the last guy that has a shot at it really is Sean McCarthy. And when you see what McCarthy does, number 11, you've got to make Verdun cut back into the field where you might be able to get some help. You see right here where McCarthy lets him get to the outside? If he cuts him back onto the inside, number 91, Chris Gannon, was there. Might have been able to make the tackle. You cannot let the punt returner get to the outside, and he's gone.
That is Clarence Verdun's 4th career punt return for a touchdown. And so the Colts break their scoreless streak, which had extended over 2 games. Shutout losses their last 2 times out against Miami last week and against San Diego the week before. Biasucci hits the point after. And on a punt return by Clarence Verdun, the Indianapolis Colts, who've not yet put their offense on the field, have taken a 7-0 lead. Clarence Verdun, the man they call CNN because he talks 24 hours a day, his teammates say.
Well, you can talk about this for a long time. Watch this. Oh, they only get an arm on him right here. That's it. But watch McCarthy. When you look at it, first of all, it's a bad tackle, but you've got to make him cut back in. If he cuts back in, you've got Gannon standing there, 91, might have been able to make the play. But once he gets to the outside, there is no shot at Verdun. You know, one of the interesting things, though, talking yesterday to the Patriots about, you know, some of the keys of this ball game, and the first thing defensively they said, which when you're on the punt team, when you give the ball back, now you become defense, is no cheap scores. And that's, sorry, Clarence, but they call that a cheap score. It's a great run.
Very, very poor special teams play by the Patriots. Nobody laid a glove on him. And now Dean Biasucci will kick the ball off for Indianapolis. John Vaughn and Michael Timpson back to return it. I think we just did this, didn't we?
Yeah, about a minute and a half ago. Whoa.
See if the Patriots maintain their fire and play hard. They certainly did not do well on special teams to start the game. Another deep kick. Michael Timpson will down the ball in the end zone, and for a second time the Patriots will go on offense from their 20-yard line. And I think, Paul, they'll probably ask Zolak when he's not running it to look for short patterns.
Yeah, and one of the things that happens, if you take a look at the first series of downs, Zolak hands the ball off twice, then he puts him in a 3rd down and long situation, and you're forcing him to pass. You've got to let him open it up a little bit. I mean, sometimes you're going to let him throw on 1st down just to make sure the defense is on it. They know, and everybody, I think, knows who's in football, that they're going to limit their offense with this young man so he gets the feel of it.
He wants to put it deep downfield sooner or later, and he's got the arm to do it. Here's the quick timing pattern, and Fryer drops the ball at the 25-yard line.
He took his eye off the ball. Eugene Daniel was there, number 38, and Fryer's looking downfield. I mean, this is what this young man needs. You need to catch the ball. Watch where the ball is put, right here. Watch Fryer's head. See him look? As soon as the ball's there, he looks. You got to look at the football.
Doesn't hurt.
You know, you need this to help this young guy. That builds up his confidence. He just threw a perfect strike. Probably would have only been about a 5- or 6-yard gain, but now you got 2nd down, you can run or pass.
Usually those are your options.
Thanks, Rick.
3 wideouts, and they go to the run to John Stevens. And the Colts are allowing nothing at all. And And so it brings up a 3rd and long. So the big rush will come, and Zolak and the Patriots know they're going to see a lot of blitzes today. That is always the case when a young quarterback is in there. There's the man who calls the blitzes, Rick Venturi, defensive coordinator for the Colts.
Rick, we said to him yesterday, will you, if they get him in a 3rd and long situation, will you come after him? They said, well, then we'll make a steady diet of coming after him. Now, remember the last time he was sacked by a safety. So Baylor was there. Now there's Pickett. He's talking to Coriat, and it doesn't look like Pickett's going to play. They really miss these two guys.
They go to the rookie from Alabama, Kevin Turner, who takes it straight ahead. He got only 5 yards, though. They needed 10. And so Sean McCarthy comes back out to punt the ball for New England. Back out goes that talking man, Clarence Verdun, waving to the crowd to pick up the noise level.
Rick, you know, if you got a guy like Verdun back there, and he's already run back one on you, kick the ball out of bounds. Aim for like the 30-yard line. Don't let him get his hands on the ball. Kick the ball away from him. The last time they kicked the ball directly to him. Make him run for it. Kicked it again.
Well hit ball. McCarthy really got all of that one. Back to the 20-yard line is Verdun. Again, he turns it upfield. This time advances the ball out to the 35-yard line. After a 56-yard punt, he returned it 15 yards. So the Colts are ready to put their offense out for the first time, even though they lead.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Levi's new loose-fitting jeans. By Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. And by Delta Airlines. At Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
Jeff George ready to quarterback the Indianapolis Colts, the #1 pick in the draft 3 years ago. His first season as a Colt, they were 7-9. He was the all-rookie team quarterback. Last year, with little protection, they fell to 1-15, and this year he's been struggling of late, primarily because the pass rush has been all over him. They open with a one-back set. Lone back is Carthon. He's in for max protection. He's in there to pass block for Jeff George. Here's a throw on first down. It's picked off, and the Patriots might tie the game. David Poole takes it in, and New England goes bang, and on Jeff George's first throw, the Patriots are a point away from tying the game.
The Patriots come out in this second half, even with 3 wide, or in the first half, with 3 wide guys on Indianapolis. The Patriots just play a basic defense. 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and defensive backs. Now watch, when George, he looks at it all the way. He's trying to hit Hester. Look at Poole. Steps right in front, just perfect timing, takes the ball, it's over. It's touchdown. Just an excellent play by Poole. He read the quarterback's eyes, had Hester covered, just steps in front and makes a play. Watch Poole, 27 bottom of the screen. Hester checks up, Poole reacts. The ball is a little bit late getting there. And that's what enables Poole to make the break on the ball, but he played it perfectly.
And Charlie Bauman is on the field now to try the point after for New England. He hits it up and good, and we have a tie game. So all of a sudden, a great play by a defender changes the face of this game. David Poole, a former Buffalo Bill, stepping in, making the pick, and taking it back 43 yards for a touchdown.
All right, are we going to settle down now to some normal play?
This is really...
a punt return, an interception for a touchdown. All right, now let's settle down. This is amazing. Now Jeff George gets to go back on for the second time without the defense hitting the field.
That was his 11th interception and his most expensive. That went for a touchdown. He's thrown for 4 scores, 4 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an action-packed NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then many of you will see an AFC battle between 2 of the NFL's highest-scoring teams when the Oilers collide with the Dolphins. Others will see these Colts take on the AFC's leading rusher, Barry Foster, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in the second half of our doubleheader, most of you will see the Broncos go against the Raiders in an always exciting AFC West matchup. Some of you will see the Jets play the Patriots. Check your local listings.
This has been a very, very, very interesting opening. I mean, you talk about wide open, but this game, as we talked about in the beginning, Crick, when you said this is a must game for the Colts. If they lose this ball game, of course the Patriots are already out of it as far as the playoff picture is concerned, but if the Colts lose this ball game, they're virtually out of it.
And with a win, they're very much in the hunt the way things are going this year. They'd be 5-5. With less than 5 minutes gone, it's a 7-7 game. Verdun and Ambrose, a rookie, are back. This is Clarence Verdun.
He'd come out. He's got to come out. He touched the goal line.
They're calling it a touchback.
I thought when you stepped on the line, you have to come out.
One toke over the line.
Yeah, watch this. Watch Verdun. Watch his left foot, I believe. One right here. He's on the line.
But he didn't come out of the playing field. Apparently the line being adjudged there to be part of the end zone. And Clarence Verdun living dangerously. He goes to the sideline with the Indianapolis Colts ready to go. 1st and 10 from their 20. Anthony Johnson cuts back. And Johnson lifts a moribund Indianapolis running game with a big carry of 19 yards. His first play from scrimmage.
What a move he made on Andre Tippett. I mean, he just left him in the backfield.
Johnson, the third-year runner from Notre Dame. Carson in the back, Harthown in the backfield oftentimes with him. Hester and Brooks wideouts. Kerry Cash starts at tight end. Offensive line has been not doing a good job keeping out the rushers. Moss, Dixon, Donaldson, Solt, and Call. Another handoff, and again Anthony Johnson fighting hard, takes it ahead for a 9-yard gain. So after Anthony Johnson's 19-yard carry, which was his career best, he takes it the second time for 9 yards. Front 7 for the Indianapolis Colts, and Ray Agnew is in the game for Edwards. It was doubtful whether he'd start, at least as of yesterday, but Ray Agnew is back. Tippett is back. Singleton's back. Here is a handoff straight ahead. It's good for a first down carry as Anthony Johnson takes the ball across midfield and is tackled by Ray Agnew.
And here's the secondary. Poole, who just moments ago had an interception for a touchdown. And Randy Robbins gets the start over Roger Brown at free safety.
First down and 10. Back to the run they go, and again they call on Anthony Johnson. He again responds for plus yards. This time he got 5 straight ahead.
All he's doing is following Maurice Carthon. We talked right at the beginning about what Carthon's job is to block. Now Maurice again probably will not see the ball more than 2 or 3 times. Left of your screen, here comes Carthon in front. Here comes Johnson right behind. Carthon gets a block on Agnew. They pick up 5 yards. That's not bad.
George settling down as he turns the page after that opening throw for an interception and a touchdown. Going the other way, Johnson gets called on again on a 2nd down and 5 play, and Vincent Brown, leading tackler for New England, makes the stop.
Now we talked to Marcia Brody yesterday, the head coach, and Teddy told us that they were going to start the offense with Carthon and Johnson in the backfield, go the normal offense. First play from scrimmage, they had 3 wides, 1 back.
Yeah.
Ended up in a touchdown the other way. That went right back to the basics.
Now 3rd down play. Out of the shotgun, Jeff George will throw. He needs 4 yards. He's got time. Ball was knocked back at him, though, as a Patriot lineman got a piece of the ball and slapped it back. So Jeff George not getting it done early.
Looked like Marion Hobby, number 60, is the guy that hit it. Jeff George is, I mean, a little bit upset with himself. His first pass is intercepted for a touchdown. On the right of the screen, is that Hobby 60 right there going up? Yes, it is. He's the guy that gets back in George's face, and when you take the offensive lineman back to the quarterback, he can't see much.
Ron Stark, one of the great punters in NFL history, back to hit the ball, as you see, averaging almost 47 yards a punt. Career punter of over 45 yards a try. There is Irving Fryer back deep to return for New England. Well hit ball. Fryer takes a look at it. It'll carry into the end zone. So another touchback and another 1st and 10 start for the Patriots from their 20-yard line when we come back, as this game is tied 7-7. A punt return for a score and an interception return for a score. The Terrapins of the University of Maryland now quarterbacking in the NFL. Esiason starts today for the Bengals as they play the Jets. Frank Reich back up at Buffalo to Kelly, but he'd start for a lot of teams, Frank Reich. Gelbaugh with your old pal Flores out in Seattle now. O'Donnell and Zolak.
Stan Gelbaugh pressed into duty.
He starts today.
They lost so many people up there. They lost Kelly Stouffer. They lost McGuire. No relation. No reference cost the money either.
Or to height. Was he about 6'8"?
6'12".
Zolak, first down, quick out. They go to a wide receiver. This is to John Vaughn, turning up, getting outside as they quickly set the blockers, and Vaughn turned it upfield and got ahead for a gain of about 8 yards. Timing patterns were what the Patriot coaches were talking about. Dick Corey didn't want to leave his quarterback back there a long time against some good pass rushers.
You want to get it out quick, and this is what he did with Vaughn. It was a screen set up to the outside. You'll see Pat Harlow, number 77, get out there in front and help out. There's Harlow out there. He picks out one block. That's Herod, makes him go to the inside. And then Vaughn picks up about 8 yards. But that's a nice, safe pass. Get him started. Let him get the feel of it.
On second down and 2, Carthon powers his way. John Stevens gets the call, and he knocks it out to the 29-yard line. He'll be just short of a first down. Excuse me, John Stevens with the carry, and Radisek, the inside linebacker, was the man who made the tackle for the Colts.
Penn State.
Stepping in for the injured Coriat, who was the number 2 pick in the draft.
Penn State played someone yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad game, was it? Anthony Johnson was ready for that one. We saw Anthony yesterday. He had every possible piece of Notre Dame apparel on. Sweatshirts, jackets, hats. Said he was getting ready.
Well, you never know when you have to go back. You still have eligibility at Notre Dame, don't you?
All 4 years.
Yeah, you have eligibility everywhere.
Third down and left. Oh, free ball, and the Colts have it. Kevin Turner, the rookie, carried the ball. You saw him come out of the stack. Up for grabs, and the signal is that the Colts have the ball.
That was unbelievable. That ball just popped straight up in the air. Watch right at the point of attack, right at the line. There he's inside. Now here comes the ball. Someone had to reach in and rip the ball out.
Had uppercutted.
That was unbelievable. There's Solak's fun to say, what else could happen to this team?
Well, you got 4 quarters to go, Coach, so.
Yep. Well, I'm looking at the Patriots now. No turnovers. On defense, no cheap scores. All these things have happened.
His pregame keys, and they indeed have happened. Now George gets excellent field position. Play faking, buys himself time, lets it rip. Man is open. Langhorn's up. He's down. He's at the goal line, not in. But it's point-blank range for Indianapolis. First and goal, and Langhorn is shaken up. David Poole covering on the play.
Poole and Randy Robbins, they converged in the middle, and the ball was thrown. The only place really it could be caught. Langhorn is down, but a perfect pass. George has got fire on one side. There's a little play-action pass. He's looking right back at Langhorn all the way. Watch 48 is Robbins. He never gets over as a safety. He's the man that makes the hit. Pulls on the coverage, but you're supposed to have coverage at the post on the inside by the safety who never gets there.
Langhorn was a Plan B acquisition of Indianapolis. He'd played in the recent years with the Cleveland Browns. Had been very productive, particularly earlier in the season. That was his 13th catch as a Colt, and apparently probably banged the shoulder.
Yeah, it looks like he's got his right arm hanging down, and that shoulder.
Poole is also hurt. He's being helped off. The cornerback, David Poole of the New England Patriots, who has the game's only score for New England.
Randy Robbins got both of them. Look at this. He gets Langhorn in the right shoulder, and he gets Poole in the head.
Now another runner from Notre Dame, Rod Culver, a rookie, is in as the I-back in a power set. First down and goal for the Colts from the 1-yard line. 7-7 game first quarter. Arbuckle in motion. Holds a linebacker with him, and Rod Culver hits it down to the goal line, but no signal. He's not in. Eugene Lockhart filled the gap. Number 51, the former Cowboy, and he made the stop.
You know, one of the things you have to do now, Crick, is when you got like Rodney Culver, Notre Dame, when you talk about these other guys, you have to give their schools now. You can't just give them Notre Dame guys.
We give them all.
I want you to do that. You can't just say, Rodney Culver.
I'm looking for a guy out there from the Citadel.
He'll be next week. 50-0 over VMI, let me tell you that.
Unbeaten, untied. I guess they've lost one.
They lost one. That's the Marshall.
Thundering Herd got him. Second down and goal now for Indianapolis. Culver again. No play fake to him. Here's the throw. Comes in low, and the tight end Kerry Cash of the Colts can't make the play, and now it brings up 3rd down and goal. Andre Tippett might have tipped the ball.
You know, there is, I mean, it's a play action pass. It's almost, you know, you're running off a running play. But you've got Maurice Carthen in the ball game, and he can block. You've got some studs up front. Go for it. You had 2nd down and about a yard. Maybe a little more than about a yard. I mean, you just pound it.
Carthen, the big back that blocks, is aligned directly behind Jeff George. Culver's the other runner. 3rd down and goal, just over a yard out. Play fake. Here's the throw. Ron Culver, he steps in. Touchdown Colts. And they take the lead 13-7.
I don't know if that Culver is supposed to be Vincent Brown's man or not, number 59, but he was caught way to the inside, and he was the outside linebacker on that play. When Culver goes out, another play action pass left of the screen. No, it couldn't have been Vincent Brown. He wouldn't have to cover that far, because what happened, they blitzed Eugene Lockhart. You blitz Eugene Lockhart from the left side. That leaves a vacancy over there. You don't have anyone to cover the back coming out of the backfield unless you're putting a safety there.
So Rod Culver scores his 3rd touchdown on his 12th reception. 4th round draft choice. Let's watch again as the Colts take it in after a couple of good throws by a guy that started slow, Jeff George.
Yeah, the pass to Langhorne downfield is the one that worked. But when you look, now I want you to freeze this. Look at 51. You see where Lockhart, when he leaves, there's nobody to cover the back. 35 Culver coming out. Now, it can't be Vincent Brown's man. That's just too far to go. There's absolutely no one on the outside. When Lockhart goes, there's got to be a safety to pick up that man.
Easy money for Rod Culver and the Colts as they take the lead.
Right. Now, Tippett's blocking. There's Maurice Carthen in there, but when you go outside, look at this. I mean, Culver just walk home. There's no one around. Not even in the area.
So for a 2nd time in this game, Indianapolis takes a 7-point lead. They led on the punt return by Verdun, 7-0. The Patriots came back on an interception return by David Poole on the first throw of the game by Jeff George. Langhorne with his game jersey off now as he's looked at by the team doctor. And now, as George sharpens up on that next possession, they come down and score on the short throw to Rod Culver.
You see Langhorne, he points to his shoulder, and he said, I got popped right on the top of the shoulder. And a lot of times he may be all right, but what happens is that your arm goes dead, and you just lose all feeling in it.
John Vaughn and Michael Timpson are back again for the Patriots. Jeff George, called by his coach Ted Marchibroda, is the best prospect he's ever seen, and he coached Roman Gabriel when Gabriel was the MVP in the NFL with the Rams. He coached Burt Jones when he was the MVP in the NFL with the Colts. He coached Jim Kelly when he was a first-team All-Pro quarterback last year for the Bills. So he's coached and worked with some great ones. And he says George has a chance to be better than any of them, although he's struggling right now. 9-25 as a starter, but his pass blocking has left a lot to be desired. His running with the ball is John Vaughn on the kickoff return for New England, and he takes it out across the 20 to the 23-yard line. 23-yard return. And young Scott Zolak, strong of arm but light on experience, comes back out to try to move the Patriots.
And again, I think Scott Zolak and the Patriots, you've got to throw the ball on 1st down, even if it's a short pass, just to loosen up that defense a little bit. I think you want to complain, but whether you complain it or not, let the young man get the defense out of that box, because his dad's sitting there watching this thing saying, you know, you got to spread this out a little bit.
His dad, who coached Joe Montana of the 49ers as a high school player at Ringgold High School in Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Pump fake. Zolak airs it out. Going for the ball is Irving Fryer. Coverage is with him. And the ball is a bit long, but Zolak, very obviously with a deep arm. Trick now, Paul, is to hit the deep throw.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that time, if you're going to throw to someone, Irving Fryer's the guy, but you talk about excellent coverage on the outside. There was just no chance for him. Eugene Daniel was there running with him all the way. That's a play action pass. But when you look out here and you see Fryer one-on-one on Eugene Daniel is off about 8 to 10 yards. Now you've got 2 wide receivers on one side, McMurtry and Fryer. You still have one-on-one coverage out here. Go to Fryer.
Zolak fires it out hard. Turning upfield is Timpson as he dives ahead, and he gets a New England 1st down. That's a big league play by Zolak and by Timpson.
See what they're doing is you're looking at the secondary for the Colts, and they're way off. Look how far off they are on the corners. That's good. He is way off. When you have that much room, that was a 6-yard pass turned into a first down. Let him go ahead and throw those when you read him. The problem is now with Zolak, he must read the free safety. If they're running a free safety and they disguise it, because he even told us that's the toughest thing he had to read are the safeties. Giving him room again.
In the NFL, they disguise the defenses so greatly. Now he then goes to the out pattern until they take it away with those corners playing soft. As you pointed out, Paul, he goes right back to the same throw, this time to Irving Fryer. Zolak to Fryer, good for 12, first down New England.
Throw and catch. That's all you do. I mean, there's nothing unique about this. And when I see somebody come back with the same play over and over and over again, and here it comes again. This time it's just Fryer. Here he goes down 5 to 6 yards. Bang, the catch, turns it into a first down. But it just goes back and look at Zolak. I mean, he's happy. He said, hey, look it. I like that. I like that. Now, what you keep in mind is if that corner starts to cheat, either Daniels or Good, they cheat up inside, then let it go.
Venturi calls the defensive signal. First down and 10 Patriots. Colts lead the game in the first quarter, 14-7. Pitch back. Vaughn trying to pick his way. He does well to get ahead for 4 yards to the 49-yard line. Sam Clancy, number 76, was the tackler. Big Sam never played college football at Pittsburgh, but was a top basketball player. In fact, played on the Pan American team that Bobby Knight took on his last trip to Puerto Rico.
You know, I'm sitting here watching this young man Zolak, and I'm looking at what he has done, and I go way back to Paul Brown when he coached the Cleveland Browns. Remember they used to run the sweep all the time, Crick, and then when you stopped that, they ran inside. Well, listen what the Patriots have done. He's only got about 20 plays between running and passing, and just execution. That's all you have to do. He's got the outside open again.
They're still real soft. Now they start to cheat up some as Zolak takes a look that way. Fires it. Fryer was running an out pattern, and Zolak threw it between 2 defenders. Fortunately, he had enough pop on it. It wasn't picked.
He had a lot of people to throw to. He had 3 guys out there and didn't hit any of them. Oh, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, after his 4th Super Bowl victory as a quarterback for the 49ers, went back to his high school where Zolak, number 16, had just completed his senior year. Gave him that ball, which Scott Zolak, proud possessor of, and you're going to see his little pregame ritual with the ball. Joe Montana said to him, and this is his dad, Paul Zolak, who coached Montana in high school. Joe Montana said to Scott, I'll see you down the line in the NFL, and here he is. Nice throw by Zolak. He gets it to Irving Fryer, and he runs it ahead to the 35-yard line of the Colts. Chris Good ran him out of bounds.
You know, people, when you look at it, you say, well, you're talking an awful lot about this young man. It's his first start. He's only thrown 9 passes coming into this ball game, and that showed some coolness. He waits for Fryer. Look how long this pattern takes. Fryer goes inside. He goes back outside. He has a lot of patience. 16-yard pickup. Fryer picks up about 5 or 6 on his own afterwards. But the thing about Zolak on the play, he just stood there. He waited for Fryer to come inside, back outside, and put it right on target.
So the Patriots, trailing by 7, drive on. Hand off. John Vaughn again finds no hole. Dips right. Takes it straight ahead, and he got almost 5 yards. And while we have a moment, now let's go to NFL Live in New York. Here's Bob Costas.
In Cleveland, in the snow, Stan Humphries will loft this one to Sean Jefferson, a 26-yard touchdown that gives San Diego a 7-0 lead early in the second. Let's go back to Indianapolis.
Where the Colts are leading the Patriots. The Patriots are right now moving the ball, trailing by 7 as they have it down to the 32-yard line. But Zolak seemingly gaining confidence, Paul, as the game wears on.
That's right. Just don't ask him to do things he can't do. What a nice play there. What a great handoff. Vaughn gets the ball.
John Vaughn breaks it inside the 10 and all the way down to the 2-yard line. So to get more pop in their running game, they went to a lighter back with more speed, and John Vaughn is delivering the goods early. as he now has the Patriots first down and goal at the 2-yard line of the Colts.
This was a nice fake. It's a draw play. Watch Zolak, number 16. He goes back. It looks like he's passing, and at the last second, hands up. Only Saragusa is the guy that misses the tackle, number 98, the nose tackle, and then Vaughn takes the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line. Excellent run. But the blocking up front was there. Look at, you see the defensive linemen, they're coming upfield in a hurry, and once they do that, that opens it up for the draw.
Power set now for the Patriots. 2 tight ends in the game. Zolak lofts the ball. Ben Coates, the tight end. He's in. Touchdown. So a perfectly lofted throw by Zolak, his first NFL touchdown throw. And the Patriots are again an extra point away from tying the game.
There's his first touchdown. Take the ball back to the bench. Keep that along with Joe Montana. There's his father. He's happy. All right, that's what I taught you how to do, son.
It was interesting, though, Paul. He really looked to be a much more confident player in this drive.
He really was. Well, like we talked in the beginning, he was confident before. You got Harrod covering on the tight end. That's just too tough a coverage for a linebacker. But the nice part about it is when Coach gets his feet down to stay in bounds because he had to get the second foot down.
Big Ben Coates doesn't catch many. That was just his 19th, but 3 of them have been for touchdowns for New England. Bauman hits the point after. And with 28 seconds to play in the first half, we again have a tie game, 14-all. Bauman will be kicking it off when we come back. 28 seconds to go in the first quarter. It's a tie game, 14-all. Now let's meet Scott Zolak with Coach McGuire and that famous ball of his.
Scotty, the infamous football. Now, you got to show me exactly what you do. Now, this, so you understand, this is when you start a football game, you touch this.
Every starting game, it was started on when I was leaving for my first start in college, and I saw it sitting on top of the desk in my dorm room, and I said, did I forget anything? And I said, uh-oh, there's the ball. So I went and grabbed it, rubbed it 13 times. That was my number in college. 16 now, rub it 16 times now, and that's basically about it.
There it is, the ball that Joe Montana gave him. Joe Montana from the same high school as the kick downfield now. Clarence Verdun and Ambrose are back. This is Verdun, or Ambrose, the rookie, running it back. He takes it out to the 17-yard line. Ambrose, the first player picked in the second round, so they got a lot of high draft choices out of that last draft.
They certainly did. I still think that ball was signed by Joe Namath. Either that or Montana's got the worst handwriting I've ever seen. No, it's from Montana.
Well, so far, it's been a very sound showing by Zolak. He hasn't turned the ball over, although one of his teammates did, the fumble a little bit earlier by the rookie running back Kevin Turner. That looks like an M. That could be anybody.
The big O in there. I like that. That's the writing. That's what writing class he took at Notre Dame, wasn't it?
When he goes to Pittsburgh, it becomes the Joe Namath ball, or New York.
Randy Robbins is the guy that's down on the field, number 48.
Randy Robbins, who's had some injury problems earlier this year, he is dinged up as Coach Scarnecchia looks on.
You can't call him coach.
Yes, we can. He's the interim coach. I know they have a particular term for New England. What is the particular term?
He's the spokesman. He's a special teams coach, but he's
selected spokesman.
He's a selected spokesman for the Patriots. And over here, Dante and everyone else, the players on the team wanted to say hello to Coach Mack. And Coach Mack, we know you're watching the game, so get well soon. On the right-hand side, you see Randy Robbins, number 48 now. He's being held up, and then he's standing there, and then they roll underneath his leg. It looked like an ankle.
Fortunately, he's up and coming off under his own power, so Randy Robbins doesn't seem to be too seriously hurt as the Patriots now have their defense on the field. And the Colts are ready to go. 1st and 10 at their 18-yard line.
The reason we're saying hello to Coach Mack from the team, first the team wanted to, and the coaching staff and the players, but they're not allowed to call him in the hospital. But I guess he calls everybody else.
That was the doctor's order. There you go.
Doctor.
Dr. James Deneen, the coach, is doing very, very well on his first day of post-operative, and his only message to beat the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, so they can't call him, but this is the way for us to communicate to the team.
reception for a touchdown. This time is guilty of interfering with Clarence Verdun, so it will be a first down for the Colts.
Actually, the reason that this becomes pass interference is because Poole puts his hands on Verdun to try to go around to make the interception. If he doesn't put his hands on, I think he would have been all right. Here's the end of the play.
Number 27, first down.
But see, it looked like he was already across the body, but he got his right hand on the back of Clarence Verdun, and that's where they called the pass interference.
On first down, the Colts go to the run. Anthony Johnson runs it. A penalty marker is in, only the second penalty of the game.
You'd never guess who was offside, would you?
Tell us.
His initials are Fred Smirlis. Freddie. I mean, that's at least one a game, but they're pointing to the offensive line. Hey, Fred. Oh, come on, you guys are moving. You guys are moving the ball, Freddie. Oh, they're calling against the defense. Freddie's not happy with that. He thinks that they were moving the ball or doing something. Look at it.
Fred with some interesting counsel for his teammates. He said, I've been on teams that have been 14-2 at San Francisco, 12-4 at Buffalo. I've been in championship games. He just tells these young players it does turn and it turns fast.
It does.
Hang in.
Yeah, here's Fred. It turns fast and they get off the ground fast. He's not too fast. He's funny.
Tell you, he hangs around a long time, old Fred. He can still deliver the goods in his 14th year in the NFL. Again, Anthony Johnson breaks it on a first down and 5 play. Johnson takes it ahead for a 10-yard gain.
You know what the Colts are doing? They are running right directly at the Patriots.
And it's working as we have a tie game at the end. Numbers for the most part even except for time of possession. The scoreboard even up 14-all between the Patriots and the Colts as we start the second quarter. Don Criqui with Paul McGuire at the Indianapolis Hoosier Dome in the capital city of Indiana. As the Colts come out of the huddle now with the ball, 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line of the Patriots.
You know, both turnovers led to touchdowns.
That's right.
That's the thing that's important about a turnover. When you look at turnovers, the giveaways and takeaways in the Patriots are the worst, tied with the Los Angeles Raiders at a -15. That's after their giveaways and takeaways. We got official down.
Back judge went down. He's a gamer, getting taped up. He might be back in.
Tape an aspirin on it.
Tough, I'll tell you, when the officials go on IR.
Feet look like mine. They will go with just 6 until he gets back.
Yeah, Roy Clymer's the man being helped on the sideline. The back judge, they will, that's right, go with 1 fewer. So now Jeff George sets his offense on a 1st and 10 play. He pitches to Anthony Johnson, who again rips a good gainer for the Colts as he's inside the Patriot 40-yard line and down to the 38. Tackled by Vincent Brown, number 59.
And just before we went away at the quarter, I'm just saying they're not doing anything spectacular. The Colts and the Patriots both. They're just lining up and coming after you. Now, that time with Anthony Johnson, a little toss. He went as far to the right as he could go. And then, bam, right back up the middle. And this thing, hurry-up offense.
Chris Gannon was also on the stat for New England as they go back to Anthony Johnson. A 2nd down and 3 carry, and he's ahead for a 1st down. And the Patriots say the ball came out. It certainly seems to be in the hands of Eugene Lockhart, who's running off the field with it when last seen. But we'll see if the play was down.
Now they're going to say he was down. I mean, there was no whistle blown. There's no replay, folks. I mean, we've been going through this all year long.
That's right. We haven't, but the officials don't.
Now, these guys are talking over here and saying, well, what's he got? Here it comes. Anthony Johnson. Right up the middle. Here's Lockhart is making the tackle. There's the ball. That's a fumble.
First down.
That is a fumble. The only way that wouldn't be a fumble is if, well, obviously it isn't because the Colts keep the ball, but the ball is coming out as he's going down. But if his knees were down, then he is down. Just at the end, watch are his knees down. You'll see the ball come out here.
Looks like one is. Yeah.
His knee down?
Yeah.
His knee's down, he's down. That's a good call by the official.
And it's a first down for Indianapolis as Jeff George takes a deep drop off a play fake. Scarnecchia says he's the best passer he's ever seen throwing off balance, but that time his throw is errant off the run, looking for Jesse Hester, number 84. Andre Tippett was coming on the rush, forcing the errant throw, and at least second down and 10.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that Anthony Johnson, not only can he run with the ball, he's the guy that took on Tippett coming in the backfield, and he slowed him up to give George enough time to roll away from the play. Of course, it was a bad pass downfield. I mean, it's one of the hardest passes to throw on the run. You've got to stop and set yourself.
George has completed 2 of 6. Actually, he's completed 3 of 6, but one went to David Poole of the Patriots and was returned for a touchdown on his first throw. Penalty markers down as the ball comes up the hand of tight end Kerry Cash.
Well, I think old Freddie may be offside again. I'm not sure, but I think it was either Gannon or Fred Smirlis offside, the defense. Fred's pointing to somebody moved. Here he is in the center of the screen, right to the left. That's all, Fred. Come on, Freddie. It's 2 in a row.
On the defense, number 76. 5-yard
Ernie
penalty.
Kukar, the referee, confirms it, Paul. It was Fred Smirlis. He was a BC Eagle in the lean years. His senior year, the Eagles were 0-11.
14 years and he's still going offside.
Still quick enough. Anthony Johnson runs it again on a second down and 5 play. He's ahead for a gain of 4 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 1. And again, Carthon on the block.
Carthon is, 44. This guy we know is going to be the blocker, and here he comes. Take a look at it here. Now, if we have time, I want you to run this play back again, and I want you to see number 73 Moss tackle Gannon, number 91 for the Patriots.
Anthony Johnson gets up with a bit of a limp, and he starts to come up. We're going to take a look at that after we look at the measurement now to see whether or not the Colts got the first down. Looks like they're just short.
Just a little bit. But Moss tackles Gannon, and that's what Gannon was upset about. When we run the play, I'll tell you where to stop it. Go. Keep going. Keep going now. Right on the left of your screen. Keep going. See Moss 73. Watch this. There's Gannon 91. Is this holding? Turn them around.
But the carry less than 2 inches from a first down. That brings up 3rd down now for Indianapolis with this game tied 14-all. Danny Scarnecchia, he was with the Indianapolis Colts for 2 years, 89 and 80, working with special teams. And he says of Jeff George, I've never seen a better natural passer. Carthon the up back. Rob Culver is the I back. Culver breaks it for the first down and much more as he's inside the 20-yard line and down to the 18. Jerome Henderson and Tim Gordon, 2 defensive backs, made the stop for the Patriots.
But excellent blocking up front with Moss and Dixon on the left-hand side of that offensive line. And that hole was wide open. Maurice Carthon. Watch Maurice. He's the guy that's going to go through the hole. Watch. I'll tell you how tough the hole is right there. He makes the block on Vincent Brown. Just opens it up for Culver. I mean, that's just excellent execution.
Again, Carthon leads the blocking, and this time it's Ken Clark running the ball. Fullback from Nebraska, and he's taken down by Andre Tippett.
So this is one of the things when you watch the Colts in the first quarter, and now we're 3 minutes into the second quarter, running the football as well as they're running the ball. There's no reason to put the ball in the air. And I don't care if you've got second down and long, you got 2nd and 9. You can still, this is still an area where you can run the football.
Bill Parcells, the man who coached the Giants to their 2 Super Bowl victories and is now an NBC broadcaster, he absolutely raves about Carthon. He said Carthon was really the heart and soul, even though he never got the glory or the carries, but he said he set the pace every day. His work ethic's unbelievable. Marcia Broda says he's still the first guy on the practice field every day. Doesn't say a whole lot. He leads by action, but he just works it, pounds it, blocks it, runs it when they give it to him. And he was part of 2 great teams with the New York Giants. And when Marcia Broda saw him on the Plan B list, he grabbed him right away as tackle Kevin Call goes off the field.
Yeah, they waited until he got the line of scrimmage. He didn't want to come out of the game, and Kevin Call did get hurt. He's sitting down on the bench, and Vanderpool was in for him.
Carthon first came to prominence blocking in the USFL for Herschel Walker with the New Jersey Generals. But now defunct USFL.
Yeah.
Now we have a timeout on the field with 11:42 to play in the first half, and the score tied 14-all. A 14-14 game in the second quarter at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Don Criqui with Paul McGuire. It's interesting, Paul, the last time there was an 0-9 team in the NFL, it was the Indianapolis Colts 1 year ago. They went on the road and beat the Jets in New Jersey. Now we have the Patriots coming in on the road 0-9.
Yeah, and I said that to the coaching staff and some of the players of the Patriots yesterday. I said, the good news, the last 0-9 team were the Colts, and they won. And they said, we still have to execute. I mean, this is not a given. I mean,
there's Rick Venturi, defensive coordinator for the Colts. It's interesting, Scarnecchia has said one of the things everybody wants us to do, or you certainly would like to do, is be able to find the right words to hit the hot button, but that's not how it works. He said everything that's been said, that can be said, has been said. It comes down to execution, and most critically, not turning the ball over. There's been a turnover each way, and as you pointed out, Paul, each one led to a touchdown. Well, the first one led to a touchdown very quickly. That was when David Poole of the Patriots intercepted Jeff George's first pass, ran it back for the tying score. Second down and 9. Jeff George gets time, fires to the end zone. He's got too much pop on it and to the wrong side. And Anthony Johnson was wide open. This kid has a gun, though.
Oh, he has a gun, but Anthony Johnson couldn't catch that ball if he had a mitt. I mean, this ball went in. You talk about in a hurry. We got another defensive player down. Gannon, number 91, is down. But watch this pass. Look at how fast this thing gets in there. I mean, boom. And it was on the backside of Anthony Johnson. I mean, it's just almost an impossible catch. Gannon is down.
Fortunately, Chris is up in a hurry. He's made some plays today for the Patriots.
It's kind of tough making plays when you're held, too, and he was held at one time by Moss, which we showed. But, you know, this pass, I mean, watch this pass from back here. Johnson's going to come across the middle. And watch this thing get there. Now, here it comes. There it goes. He can't make that catch. I'm sorry.
George hasn't let the boos he's heard this year bother him. He told us yesterday, and it was also in the paper. He said one of the reasons I get booed is because I'm good and I'm good looking. Said he with a chuckle.
Yeah, don't let that get out now, because he was laughing when he said it. But Jeff he said, hey, I understand it. I'm going to get booed, and until we turn this program around and start winning consistently, you've got to accept that as part of the game. I like that.
Well, they're way ahead of where they were last year. They were 0-9 at this point last year. Now they're 4-5, driving for what could be a go-ahead score in a 14-14 game. Here comes the rush. George lofts it into the end zone. Langhorne is there. Too much on it. Another open receiver, but Jeff George is a bit long, and the field goal unit comes out. And that has been at best an iffy proposition for the Colts, as Dean Biasucci is not having a good year. He is 5 of 12 kicking field goals.
Worst average in the National Football League. I mean, you know, and I always thought this guy was a pretty good kicker. We watched him struggle the last time we were here.
We're told that Randy Robbins has a sprained left knee and ankle, could return. Randy Robbins, defensive back for New England. Biasucci has hit on just 2 of his last 6 field goal attempts. This one he hits wide right. So Dean Biasucci's long season continues, looking for answers as he comes off the field, and the Colts blow a scoring chance to go ahead.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Starter. Look for the stars and you'll find Starter. By Pringles. So fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. By Black & Decker, the source of powerful gift ideas. And by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Reggie Langhorne being attended to. He left a little piece of himself on the field a while ago. Take a nasty abrasion on his arm. Here's a handoff, and John Vaughn runs the ball, and he gets it to the 23-yard line. Jeff Harrod was on the stop. He's playing hurt, the leading tackler for Indianapolis.
if you're weak of stomach, you don't want to see Langhorn's thing here. Here's Langhorn reaching. See his right arm hit that turf down in the end zone? Well, we're going to show it to you.
He left a piece of that arm on the field.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, and he has those pads on. They're just covering it up there, but it looked like almost like a buffalo. There it is. There. Take a look at that. That's a piece of his arm that was left on the field. Go back at halftime and get it.
Second down, a long 7. Zolak looking at Fryer. Fryer turned out. Zolak was looking for an up pattern then, and they were not on the same page. And that brings up third down, and Zolak will have to pitch it again. He'll need almost 7 yards.
He actually didn't look at Fryer because Fryer was pushed out of bounds by Good. And when he pushes him out of bounds, you can't come back in and catch the ball. The official ran up, put his hat down. But he read the defense well because the corner came up to Chuck. So he threw the ball tried to get it between the corner and safety, and that's a touch play.
Zolak has completed 5 of 9 for 47 yards and 1 touchdown. They give on a delayed draw, and running hard with the ball is John Stevens, and needing 7, he gets 12. It's a first down for New England.
What a nice play. This is a draw off of the shotgun, and watch it. Stevens the only guy back there. He gets the ball. The defense is rushing upfield. Once they get you in that mode going upfield, rushing the passer, that's what they think they're going to do is throw the ball. All Stevens has to do is beat the linebacker to the inside. He does that. He picks up the first down. It's Vincent Brown. It's the only guy I've ever seen. I mean, this guy is huge, Vincent Brown. It's the only guy I've ever seen with muscles in his face.
Powerful man is Vincent Brown, and he is having a terrific year, even if his team is not. Handoff, John Vaughn spins off and works himself ahead for a couple of yards after he was hit behind the line. Jeff Harrod shooting the gap. He was the man that eventually brought him down. As we check the scoreboard, Houston up on the favored Vikings at Minneapolis. Houston, a team that appeared to be in disarray. Kansas City taking it to Washington today, 21-0 in the second quarter. Green Bay, a big underdog at home, beating the favorite Eagles.
Who's playing quarterback?
For Green Bay?
No.
Yeah, Cunningham's back in for the Eagles, or he was supposed to be. Said he was going back to his own ways. He was going to run when he felt he should run. Here's a swing pass. It goes out to John Stevens, and he's ahead on a second and long play. Second and almost 8. John Stevens is ahead for a Patriots first down. Eugene Daniel on the tackle for the Colts.
Eugene Daniel thinking, what am I doing here? Here comes John Stevens. And now that you see, are they blitzing? Yes, there's Banks is coming in. They're trying to put some heat on Zolak. He just stays right there in the pocket. John Hand, number 78, is back there. But, you know, with every pass he completes, the better it is for him. The more confidence he gets in himself and in his arm. He would love, as he said yesterday, to go deep.
He's 6 of 10 now throwing the ball for 54 yards, 1 TD, no interceptions.
Movement in the line. Pat Harlow, number 77, moved before the play. That stops it. But when you ask him, you know, we talked to him.
Start. Number 77 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Bernie Kukar, the referee, makes the call on Pat Harlow.
Well, take a look at the right side of your screen. There's Harlow. Once he moves, the play is dead. The whistle blows. But the one thing about Zolak, when you asked him yesterday, when you go deep, his eyes lit up. Yeah. What do they call it? That slot down the middle. I want to go down in there. I want to throw one down in there. I don't know if they're going to let me, he says, but I know I can.
He doesn't lack for confidence, and certainly not for enthusiasm. He was really looking forward to this whole thing. Getting the call in the NFL. Right now, his team is locked in a tie game, 14-all. Zolak on 1st and 15. Tries to thread it. It's picked off. Good has the ball for the Colts. He's across the 50 with a cordon of blockers. Inside the 30. Still on the run. Inside the 20. And he's down at the 15-yard line. So a spectacular catch and return by a former Alabama running back, Chris Good, as he runs it all the way back to the 15-yard line of the Patriots.
Chris Good is a super interception, but let me tell you something. Something had to be wrong with this play. McMurtry and Fryer are in the same spot. Watch this. There's only one guy has to cover. You see Fryer? Now watch to the right of the screen. See 86, McMurtry? They're both there. There's no reason for those two guys to be in that spot. Good just played the play
they were not in the right spot as Zolak now comes up and tries to stop somebody.
He makes the stop. Watch Zolak. He gets beyond, and makes the play. Saves the touchdown.
You can see the running back ability of Chris Good when he got the ball. His brother Kerry Good was also a standout runner for the Crimson Tide. Now the Colts challenging again. Tie game. George.
And this play was screwed up right from the beginning because they went the wrong way. You had Johnson and Maurice Carthon on the left. Jeff George was signaling to him to move Carthon up on the line of scrimmage. Now watch, there's Langhorne. He's outside. He said, I don't know. This play is right from the beginning. Now watch. He only just steps off the line of scrimmage. Bang! I think Jeff George just threw the ball away and he got booed for it. They lined up wrong.
That brings up 2nd down and 10 as they burn it down on the out of sync play, and Jeff George takes a 5-step drop, fires to the end zone again. He's tied. He strings his receiver out. Randy Robbins makes Langhorne pay the price.
I'll tell you, Foghorn Langhorne better go sit down for a while because they're just banging him around. Then we saw one in the first quarter. Watch this shot by Randy Robbins. He's not even looking at the ball. Bang! I mean, and that's legal. That's legal. He just drilled Langhorne in the end zone. Langhorne said, well, let's not run that one again. How about a corner pattern? Let me go take some skin off my elbow the other way. The middle's open.
From the shotgun on 3rd down and 10, George takes a look, and again, he's off target.
Well, I don't know if he's off target. Anthony Johnson reaches it with one hand. I mean,
Don Hudson couldn't have caught that. Let's look at it again.
I'm talking speed-wise, you're right. Here comes the trials and tribulations of Biasucci. But this pass, I mean, he fired it again. The one he threw to Johnson earlier in the end zone, there was no way he could catch it. Here comes Johnson slipping out of the backfield. Look at this. Sim. I mean, that hits him in the hand.
Yeah, got one hand.
Yeah, and almost, he's only got 4 fingers left on there, though.
Now Biasucci will try a 33-yarder. He's liable to pull this left because he's been missing right. He missed his last one right.
Oh, he got it.
He got that on time. Drives it through, and there's a penalty marker down.
Now what? It's against the Colts, so don't give it to him yet. Biasucci's saying, oh, no. I got to do this again. That's 10-yarder.
Yep, it is against Indianapolis, so the points that went up on the board are right back off it inside of 10 seconds.
Moss is throwing his hands up, number 73. I don't know if it's against him or not. Usually when they do that. Here it comes.
Holding, number 73 on the offense.
Oops. Yeah.
10-yard penalty, still 4th down.
He put his hands up and said, I didn't do it. Look at it, he's mad. Well, he got away with one early. He got away with one on Gannon earlier, so that's okay.
Now it becomes a little more of a tester for Dean Biasucci, who in the offseason is an actor and a good one, does a lot of Shakespeare.
You don't start hitting some, he'll be doing it a lot. 12 months out of the year.
This is a 43-yard attempt.
Hey, left. How did you know that?
Well, he's been pulling it right and pushing it right. Not the best of times for a lot of people. So the score remains 14-all. A penalty takes the field goal away. Dean Biasucci, the Shakespearean actor, how sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. In this case, a thankless team. And then when he was talking to him on the sideline.
You don't get a whole lot of accolades when you miss, pal.
And they'd lay a King Lear rap on you. Tony Siragusa makes the tackle.
I've been watching Vaughn in this first half of the ball game, and he is not following the blockers. Now, whether the hole is not there or not, I'm not sure, but he seems to be cutting him off all the time and getting himself in trouble. Now we're going to go, I think, with Stevens and Turner in the backfield.
That's what it is. 2 big backs in there. Kevin Turner, rookie fullback from Alabama, the up back. John Stevens behind him.
Got Pryor out here.
2nd down and 9. Zolak pitches back to Stevens. Turns it up, turns it out, gets to the 30. He got 3. As the game clock now down to 6:40 and running. Minnesota going up in front of the Houston Oilers in the second quarter. You've liked Minnesota from the start, Paul, and they've sure looked great of late.
They are an excellent football team, and they've got it all. I still think that in the NFC, that's the team that's going to the Super Bowl.
Apparently Philadelphia is not heading that way.
Ooh, Cunningham is 9 of 17, 59 yards. That's not good. I think put Jim back in, don't you, McMahon?
Well, they're playing in Milwaukee, I believe. It'll be a little mean up there in part of November.
It's kind of cold. Hands aren't doing well. Doesn't seem to be hurting Green Bay at all.
Hand off to Stevens. He breaks a tackle, turns it up across the 30, takes on yet another tackler, and finally gets ahead on a third down carry for maybe a yard, but he's short of the first down.
They're going to give him this first down. Where do you see this mark that
They are.
give?
He's got it.
John Hand is in the backfield making the tackle. He misses. And Stevens' reach is going to give him the ball. All he has to do is really get it across the 35-yard line. And watch this mark. You see Hand? Nobody touches Hand. Look at this. Bam. He's in. And Stevens comes to the outside. Here he comes. Watch this mark. Look at the ball. He reaches the ball. Now, from that angle, we can't tell whether he was out of bounds or not. But from here, is he out of bounds? That's Baylor there. Here it is. There's the reach. No, he gets the ball forward. And they're going to give him that reach.
So the game clock is down to 5:56 and running. The score, the Patriots 14 and the Colts 14.
That's an individual effort by that young man right there to get the first down.
That really was. It looked like the original spot was short, but where they put it is indeed a first down. Zolak backpedaling to throw, swings it out. This is the rookie Kevin Turner with the ball. He crashes ahead and gets to the 39-yard line, a gain of about 3.
Correct. Tony Saragusa. Yeah, he got clipped. And now they throw the flag and by Larry Williams, and that's a dumb thing to do. Don't do that because he's going to tack on another flag. I mean, you already got a problem. Saragusa gets clipped from behind, but you got to get clipped from behind. What am I talking about? By Larry Williams, and if Williams picks up the flag and throws it, so there's going to be a 10-yard and then a 15 for unsportsmanlike conduct. They'll be back in the end zone.
Zolak will get a chance now to air it out as he's been wanting to do deep. He's going to have to get him to the first down yardage.
Tony Saragusa, he's right in the middle. Look at him. He's in the middle of the New England huddle talking to the guys. There's Saragusa. He was back talking to all these guys, saying, you know, they shouldn't do that. Watch, you can't throw the flag afterwards. That's the mistake on top of mistakes.
We had clipping on the run. Then we had unsportsmanlike conduct. After it, we're going to stick on 2 15-yard penalties.
2 15-yard penalties. I'm sorry, I said a 10. Here it is. Look at 98 on the left of your screen.
So far, they only marked off 1.
All right, Williams, watch this. Here's the clip. Saragusa actually doesn't even get touched. He did a great acting job, and that's why Williams was upset, because he didn't hit him. He actually missed him. Saragusa did such a great job acting. Watch this. Now here's Williams coming in. Where does he hit him? Saragusa pushes off. He's never touched. He just does a great acting job. Williams happens to be on the ground. He throws the flag, and then Williams throws the flag back at him because he knows he didn't do anything.
So 310-pound Tony Saragusa with that good sleight of hand or sleight of foot. Now we want a timeout. Zolak does. He's going over to talk to his coaches. And the Patriots are pushed back 30 yards on consecutive 15-yard penalties with 5:07 to play in the first half, and the game still tied 14-all. NBC.
It storms. We had 2 feet of snow in Buffalo yesterday and today. I may have to go home with you, Crick, which will be really exciting. Look at these penalties. 6 for 66.
Oh, boy. Last one a double hit. 30 yards in penalties. Penalty marker down again as John Vaughn runs. 2 penalty markers down. Vaughn broke it ahead for 5, 10, 15 yards.
Chip Banks was offside, number 51. I mean, way offside.
I believe I'd take the play.
I think, well, 15, you pick up 15 yards, you got to take the play. Look at Chip Banks. I don't know what he's looking at. Well, then you got movement. on the outside.
Offside on the defense, number 51. Penalty is declined.
See, they didn't see Eugene Chung move. Because the defensive man, remember, can get back onside as long as he doesn't touch an offensive player. But Chung also moved before the play. Got away with it.
But on the carry, they got back one of the 15-yard penalties. Now it is second down and 21. Play fake. Zolak stands in, throws to his tight end, and Marv Cook is on the run. Crashing into defenders. He is maybe a yard short of a first down. Needed 21. He got over 20.
Well, this is what happens when you get a defense. They forget about the tight end. They have not thrown the ball to the tight end in the game. Now, we've got Marv Cook coming off. Banks is letting him go. He releases the Radisek on the inside. But look at this. There's really nobody to cover him. They're all downfield looking deep. And Cook almost gets the first down. He's about a half yard away. Look at Zolak. He said, hey, always go to the tight end when you're in trouble, my friend.
Nothing wrong with what Zolak's turning it out here.
Not at all. I mean, you're looking at a guy that was faced with, what, first down and 40 for 35, whatever it was. And here he is now. He's got him within a half a yard of first down.
As his center, Gene Chilton, said of Zolak yesterday, he's a free spirit. He lives on the outer edge, as Chilton put it. But Chilton also said at this point, we're looking for anything.
Yeah, and that's what everybody said about this young man, Scott Zolak. They said, well, we said, what do we expect from him? And they all threw their hands up and said, no, we don't know.
They all liked him, though, and he does have great ability. Dick Corey, the offense coordinator, says he has everything but experience. Third and short. Let's see if they got there. Kevin Turner got the call. He fell on the right after the handoff and got to the 45-yard line. He needed to just cross it. He might not be there.
You're 0-9.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
And
I don't know. On your side of the field, though, you got to think about it. Going for it on fourth down.
what's there to think about? You got a half a yard to go. I mean, you're going to have the half the football actually to go. You go. You're 0-9.
My man, huh?
Why not? That's where you pay these guys up front.
Just short.
You got a half the football. They're going to punt it.
On the other side of the field, you can see it, but this is, this early in the game, in a tie game, they don't get there, and they put the Colts very close to scoring range, although I'm not sure what scoring range is for Indianapolis with a field goal game that's for Cock. Here is Sean McCarthy, ready now for his third punt of the game. Mike Pryor is back for Indianapolis.
It's kind of strange with Pryor back there, isn't it? Verdan is standing on the sideline with his helmet in his hand.
Well hit by McCarthy, a former Purdue punter, and it's going to be fair caught at the 16-yard line by Mike Pryor. As we again check the scoreboard, the 10-minute ticker with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Jeff George comes back out, has had a couple of good throws, but more than that, of bad ones off target. Kansas City, I mean, they're really laying it to Washington. Packers up on the favorite Eagles at halftime. Do they make a pitching change, the Eagles?
I would think you would.
Jeff George sets his offense now. 3 minutes and 18 seconds to go in the half. Could be firing on first down. Play fakes. Looks to throw. Guns it downfield. What a great throw by Jeff George. Gets it into Anthony Johnson, who's on the run. He's across midfield and down to the 47-yard line of the Patriots. So Jeff George fires a strike.
You know what's amazing about this play is he's gone to Anthony Johnson twice that he dropped the ball, right? And now he comes right back to him. They split Anthony Johnson to the outside. They run him downfield. Tim Gordon is out there, 41. They just don't make the play. And Anthony Johnson turns that in for another 15 yards after the catch.
Total gain 38 yards. Johnson carries. Patriots are right there to get him. Not much gain. Clock down to 2:30 and running. Coming up at halftime, the NFL Live halftime report as we update all that's going on this Sunday of play. Coach Holtz with a big win yesterday. There's the catch by Reggie Brooks, who's got to be starting to get some Heisman consideration, and another guy that should be getting some, and I've been one of the members of the Heisman committee for 20 years, is Marvin Graves, the quarterback for Syracuse, who quarterbacked the win over BC yesterday. Marvin Graves leads the country in passing efficiency for a 8-1 team.
What about Toretta?
Toretta ranks number 20 in America in passing efficiency, and wins he's number 1.
Okay.
He's probably the leading guy for the Heisman right now. Scott Radisek, linebacker for the Colts. Trainer's got him in a step over toe hold here, an old wrestling trick, actually stretching out a hamstring.
They ever did that to my leg, it'd take me 3 chiropractors to get it back. Former Buffalo Bill, Penn State linebacker. He was upset about yesterday's game, you know. He was not one of the happy people.
Right now, the game clock shows 2 minutes to play in the first half, and the Indianapolis Colts have the ball in a tie game, 14-all, at the 47-yard line of the Patriots.
I think this is a pass play. You got one guy in the backfield, and that's Anthony Johnson.
Jeff George is just 3 of 12 throwing the ball for 68 yards. Now he's 4 of 13 with a throw very close to a first down to Langhorne. Rod Smith made the stop for New England.
You got to get a lot closer if you want to score.
It changes your thinking when your field goal kicker's in a slump. No question.
It really does. I mean, what the Colts are thinking here, touchdown. They're not thinking field goal.
They got the first down. Game clock running, 1:28 to play. Here's a throw. Anthony Johnson loses a tackler with a great move. Look at Anthony Johnson get it done inside the 25-yard line, where Tim Goad finally runs him down.
You know what I tell you about faking you out? Watch what happens to Rod Smith, number 22. Anthony Johnson, he's limping a little bit, but this is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing. Watch this. Bang! I mean, he just did a double move and left Smith. But I'll tell you what Smith did. He came back and made the tackle.
They're friends, too. They played together at Notre Dame.
Not after that play, they're not. They used to be friends. You don't embarrass your friends, pal.
Anthony, you need a win. Anthony Johnson comes off, apparently a bit winded. Ken Clark goes back in as the game clock is now stopped with 1:13 to play in the first half, and Dean Biasucci. Oh my, says Dean.
Please score a touchdown.
Extra points I can handle. He's hit 2 today. This guy was a top kicker recent years.
Oh, he was.
Just in a slump.
And I'm going to tell you something. Dean, we're having a little fun, and I know you're not laughing, but he's got to work it out himself. There is not a thing you can say to him. There's nobody for encouragement or anything. It's just something he's got to do on his own. He knows he's a better kicker than what he showed. Obviously, he's got the worst percentage in the league. He'll get it back.
Jeff George with a 1st and 10 play. Fires hard at Jesse Hester, incomplete. Hester looking for an interference call. None is forthcoming. Maurice Hurst was covering on the play for the Patriots.
Nice coverage by Maurice Hurst, and here comes Jesse downfield again. This ball is whistling.
Boy, he's got it.
I mean, well, they're hurry up, but I'm going to tell you something. It looked like Hester never even got his arms up before the ball was through.
Well, Marchibroda said he actually throws it like a baseball, and he was a major league shortstop candidate. Hasn't given up that thought yet. Here is a throw downfield. Ooh, Poole almost had his second. David Poole. It skips off his hands. The first one he got, you'll remember, he ran back for a touchdown. That was on Jeff George's first pass of the game.
Yeah, but here again, remember we told you about the New England Patriots? Look at this. Look at Langhorne and Hester. They're not supposed to be there. One of those guys is in the wrong spot. Poole almost makes the play. We just saw that with the Patriots before with McMurtry and with Irving Fryer. I mean, never does that happen where those two guys going downfield that deep are in the same spot. All you need is one guy to cover him.
Shotgun set. 3rd down and 10. 1:04 to play first half. Guns again. Open man. The tight end, Kerry Cash, is in from Indianapolis. Touchdown. That was a throw.
Boy, you talk about getting the ball there. We've been talking about him getting the ball there in a hurry. That time he got the ball to Kerry Cash in a hurry.
23-yard touchdown play.
Left of the screen. He's looking at his tight end, Kerry Cash, and look at this ball. They just have no chance whatsoever to get there. That was Lambert. Dion Lambert was the guy, number 28 downfield, but he really didn't have a chance. Dean Biasucci draws a deep breath.
Hey, that's right. You were talking about he was thinking touchdown. They got one for him. Extra points he's confident in. Ron Stark, his holder, and the extra point is right down the middle. And with 58 seconds to play in the first half, the Colts, for the 3rd time in the game, take the lead.
That's the same movement that Biasucci needs to do when he's kicking a field goal. Don't try to guide it. Don't try to do anything different. It's just, you're getting a little more oomph into it. It's just like kicking an extra point. A horse with blue feet.
Fine looking Arabian. And it is now 21-14. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report is coming up next with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and Alan Pinkett. He'll be a happy guy, a former Notre Dame rusher who is injured this year. Wire rolls his eyes. Hey, he's on the screen.
I mean, are they ever going to get a guy from the Citadel in there at halftime? They're 8-1. 50-0 over BMI. They play Notre Dame in a bowl game?
Could happen.
Hey.
Indications are that Notre Dame would go to the Cotton Bowl at this point, play the Aggies of Texas A&M. Alabama rallying last night from behind. Tide looks like they're heading to the Sugar Bowl to play Miami. Things can change, though. There's still some tough games left, and Miami's got one coming up next Saturday at Syracuse.
I wonder how much they're going to let Scott Zolak air it out, because there's only 58 seconds to go, and they only have one timeout, they being the Patriots. So you just, but they don't get the ball back at the beginning of the second half. The Colts do. So
Biasucci set to kick off. John Vaughn and Michael Timpson are back for New England. It's a bouncer downfield. Is picked up. Marion Hobby, of all people, has it. He doesn't get to return many. May have never happened before. He does all right with it, though, and gets the ball out to the 33-yard line. They're nervous about Clarence Verdun after that 53-yard punt return for a touchdown early in the game. Scott Zolak comes out. 8 of 13, 73 yards, 1 touchdown, and then the 1 interception. When 2 receivers, as you pointed out, Paul, were in the wrong place.
Yeah, the numbers.
One of them was.
Yeah, one was. The numbers are very nice for him. I mean, they started out slow, but I think you can let him go ahead. He's got the arm. He's got the confidence.
He's going to air it out.
Throw it in the middle. They'll give you the middle.
Airs it right out to John Stevens, who gets nothing. 2-yard gain on the play. Sam Clancy was the tackler. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Terry Ewert. Our director, John Gilmartin. Executive producer, Terry O'Neill. Game clock 38 seconds and ticking down in the second quarter. We're at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, where Ted Marchibroda and his Colts are up by a 21-14 score. The game has been tied twice. Irving Fryer looking back. I don't know if he was counting the house or what, but it wasn't looking at the ball, which looked to be close enough to catch.
Well, it was a little high over his head. I think, again, we're talking about timing here. We're not making excuses for this young man. He doesn't want him. Here come the signals in.
Tommy Hodson, the injured quarterback, he's signaling in the plays. Tommy last night, he said, at least I feel like I'm helping somewhat. He's out for the rest of the season. Fractured his thumb. Zolak guns it down the middle of the field. What a catch by McMurtry, and he's on the run. Ted McMurtry's going to go the distance. No markers are down, and the Patriots are in the end zone. And Zolak flicks to the bench and takes a deep bow. Like the great Caruso. This guy. He's pointing to his dad, Paul Zolak, who
There he is.
both Scott and Joe Montana in high school.
Remember I told you the middle is open? In a prevent defense, and when the clock is running down, they give you, they being the defense, they give you the middle. Now, McMurtry makes an excellent catch in the run afterwards, but look at the middle of this field. It's wide open.
Some play by McMurtry.
Watch the middle. There's nobody there. Now McMurtry gets beyond. He makes the play. He makes the touchdown.
So McMurtry's 28th catch of the season, good for his first touchdown, and for a third time today, the Patriots are an extra point away. There he is. Thank you so very much, says Scott Zolak. Third time today, the Patriots are within an extra point of tying the game, which they do. Bauman hits the extra point. And we have 12 seconds left. Who knows what can happen in the remaining time?
Don't you love this guy, though? I mean, they just took a bow. Hello, thank you very much.
You look at the...
There's his father. His father's calling the score in down home.
Get it to the local paper in Monongahela.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It's a weekly.
Monongahela.
Monongahela.
I'm from that area.
I know.
I'm Youngstown, Ohio, born and raised.
He's got a nick on his forehead. It was kind of a nasty-looking gash when we met with Zolak yesterday, and he actually got it when two guys were playing stickball at practice. The stick broke and hit him in the head yesterday.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do the day before the game. At home. You know, it really is. And his father, I mean, takes a deep breath and said, "Hey, I always knew, son, you could do it." I mean, he told you yesterday, that was the funny thing. He said, "I'm going down that middle. They're going to, even if they don't let me, I'm going to go down the middle." Now we got some numbers. But I mean, he put that ball right on target, and not to take anything away from McMurtry, but that was a great catch also.
I asked him what advice Joe Montana gave me. He said, "Hey, Montana told me he wasn't a high draft choice either." He said, "Bide your time, learn all the time. Your time will come." His time came today, and right now he has his team tied up as, again, a short kickoff the other way goes to linebacker Mac Vanderbeek. And with 7 seconds left, Jeff George will come in to air one out.
Why not? Well, see, the one thing they don't want to make, you know, I don't know if you might as well throw it downfield. It's like a punt anyway, but the Colts get the ball back in the second half. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just took a knee. But you have nothing to lose. Let her fly.
That's right.
This has been some action football game right from the beginning. From the fourth play of the game. Yeah, they're going to take it in. They get the ball back, folks. Don't boo them yet.
So the Colts elect to run out the clock, and they'll go to the locker room in a tie with the Patriots, 21-all. So while we have the halftime break here at the Hoosier Dome, let's go to Bob Costas for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Surprisingly entertaining first half at the Hoosier Dome, tied at 21, and we'll talk about it with Alan Pinkett, who's our guest in the studio this week, and of course Will McDonough, and we'll hear from them as soon as we zip through all the scores. The Vikings and the Oilers are at the half at the Metrodome, and these two dome teams are tied at 10 apiece. Dennis Green, Coach of the Year candidate, that's for sure, and his defense has really done it for him, especially in recent weeks. Here comes Carlos Jenkins on the blitz, and he really nails Warren Moon, coughs it up. Anthony Parker returns it 58 yards. The Vikings' fifth defensive TD in the last 2.5 games. They led 7-3, and there's Moon trying to shake it off immediately after the play. Late in the first half, Moon will throw, and it will go off the hands of an Oiler receiver and be intercepted by Felix Wright. He'll return it to the Oilers' 27, and that leads to a Fuad Reves field goal and a 10-3 Viking lead. Late in the first half, Moon was able to put together a drive. There you see him being helped to his feet. He completed 7 straight on the march and capped it with the pass at the back of the end zone to Ernest Gibbons for the 5-yard touchdown that ties it at 10 apiece, and Gibbons does his little celebratory dance. But lately, the Oilers haven't had much to celebrate. Losers of 3 of their last 4 and on the verge of dropping out of the playoff picture unless they can pull the upset today, because their next game is at Miami, and after that on Thanksgiving, they're at Detroit, so it's a very tough stretch for them. Washington is at Kansas City. The 6-3 Redskins trail the 5-4 Chiefs. No misprint here. 28-0. Christian Okoye has a pair of touchdowns for the Chiefs. Philadelphia and Green Bay at County Stadium in Milwaukee. It's 14-10 in favor of the Packers. Randall Cunningham, to this point, early in the third quarter, 12 of 20 for 93 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Brett Favre, meanwhile, for the Packers, was 11 of 11 for 114 yards and a touchdown in the first half. It was snowing early in the day. It has since stopped at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers at 6-3 lead the 2-7 Lions 10-7. Barry Foster has carried 15 times for 83 yards, and he's gone over 1,000 yards for the season for the Steelers. San Diego and Cleveland, this one is 7-3. It's early in the third quarter. A quick look at some of what's gone on there. On a snowy day alongside Lake Erie, Mike Tomczak looking for Mark Bavaro here, but Darren Carrington steps in front for the interception. He goes 71 yards down to the Cleveland 26. 3 plays after that, Stan Humphries will go to the air behind good protection and connect with Sean Jefferson for the touchdown. That made it 7-0. Matt Stover later hit a field goal for Cleveland to close it up a bit. They have started the second half, and the Browns trail 7-3. The Jets in Cincinnati. Browning Nagel just threw a 10-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Mathis, and the Jets have the lead at 17-0 over the 4-5 Bengals. New York is 2-7. Phoenix and Atlanta both 3-6, though the Cardinals have won their last 2 in a row over San Francisco and the Rams. And now on the road at the Georgia Dome, they've managed a 10-all tie, and they've just started the third quarter. In the game you folks are watching, a 21-21 tie at the Hoosier Dome, the Patriots and the Colts. And let's turn to Will McDonough and ask if off this first half, and I realize it's early returns, but is Zolak the quarterback of the future for the Patriots?
Well, I don't know about the future long range, but the immediate future he is. You know, Tommy Hodson's done for the year with a fractured thumb. I don't think Hugh Millen will be able to play for another 3 or 4 weeks because he has a third-degree shoulder separation. And I think the doctors told him this week it's going to take more time than he thought. So they have to go with Zolak, and he's played exceptionally well today, even though the Colts defense is not what it should be. They got too many good players out injured.
Well, if you're Marchabrota and you let them complete a 65-yarder with about 20 seconds left, 12 seconds left as McMurtry hit the end zone, you got to be pulling your hair out.
Well, what they don't have now, and what they did have at the beginning of the season when Impman and Coriat played, right, is a pass rush. They're not putting the pressure on Zolak the way they should because the New England offensive line might be the worst in the entire league, so you should have some pressure, and they don't have it.
Let's talk Minnesota and Houston with the former Oiler running back Alan Pinkett. Although they managed the touchdown late to forge the tie, the Oilers have had the kind of problems in the first half that have been symptomatic the last few weeks.
Yeah, the drop balls, they're just basically beating themselves. But in this offense, they have a chance to redeem themselves as a receiver because Warren's going to come right back to them. But it's frustrating on their part, and it's magnified more because of the premium placed on drop passes.
Well, we'll talk about another of Alan Pinkett's former teams, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They had an exciting one yesterday in the snow at South Bend against the Nittany Lions of Penn State. We'll take a look back right after these messages from your local stations.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
As we continue at halftime, let's take a look back to yesterday in South Bend. Penn State and Notre Dame renewed their rivalry for the 17th and final time. For 23 Notre Dame seniors, it was their last home game in the house, you might say, that Knute Rockne built. And it was a day of football that seemed right out of the Rockne era. Snow flew throughout the first half. The Nittany Lions and the Irish battling the cold and the wet footing. Penn State took the game's biggest lead, as it turned out, a 7-point advantage, with just 4.5 minutes left after this touchdown. It was 16-9, and up to senior quarterback Rick Meyer to lead the Irish in a stirring final drive. Here's how some of it looked and sounded.
Screen pass, Bettis, blockers in front, Bettis to the outside. 16 down. Meyer reverses his field.
But there's so much emotion within, you know, the guys leaving, and then guys having emotion because it's their last time with a lot of us, and then to win it the way we did, I think after it was over, it just felt like there's no better way to you know, play your last game in your home stadium than the way we did today.
Now, earlier today, I talked to Lou Holtz and asked him if he had any hesitation about going for 2 points and the victory.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as they scored, Bob, and we got the ball, our thought was, what are we going to do for 2 points? Unfortunately, the play we ran on 4th and 3 was our 2-point play. So consequently, when we used that up, we had to go back to the book to get another one.
This was the last home game for the seniors. What a memory to take away.
Well, it was a great memory, but it was also important, Bob, for our younger players. I think that they learned something about the spirit of Notre Dame. And as Rick Meyer said, he'll always remember his first game at Notre Dame when he beat Michigan with a pass with 1:20 to go, and he'll remember the Penn State game. But, you know, we don't want to brag. We're very, very ecstatic. But by the same token, we've been on the other side in the locker room where we went for 2 in 1987 against Penn State, and it wasn't successful. So we understand how Penn State feels. And it's ironic, or maybe it's unfortunate, that a 2-point play should nullify the fine effort of their team as well as ours.
Holtz also told me that he favors an overtime rule like the pros have, so that you could go for the single point and snap the tie in an extra session. A lot of people say, okay, great, the spirit of Notre Dame. Lots of schools have spirit. Is there something special there, do you think?
It is something special. The spirit is real. It's not a false thing. And it's not only the players that feel that spirit, it's everyone in that stadium. It's all the alumni across the country. They feel it. It's just a special place. It's a special kind of spirit and feeling, and it was very evident there in the stadium yesterday.
You played there during the Jerry Faust era, and no disrespect intended toward Faust, but the team didn't do so well, so you didn't enjoy as many of those moments as you might have liked.
No, we had very few moments, but I understand that spirit, and I tell you the big advantage with having Coach Holtz there, he's improved the attitude. Those guys respect the school a lot more now, and I tell you, it's just made all the difference in the world because they play with a lot more pride and a lot more emotion, and that's what it takes. That's when you really feel the spirit.
Okay, time for us to step aside for a moment. Our NFL Live halftime activities will continue right after this.
Penalty marker is down on the kickoff to start the second half, which goes to Clarence Verdun. And apparently there'll be a blocking foul against the Indianapolis Colts as we look at the kickoff.
Clarence Verdun is going to take the ball back up on the right-hand side, and then there's some, I mean, a couple of flags. They're better get out of the way when you throw the flag.
Verdun has 1 touchdown today as we look at the Keystone Light halftime stats. Patriots with a distinct yardage advantage, 230 to 181. Zolak throwing well, 9 of 15, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
And both these teams are talking about scoring, Crick. They're not having any problem with that. He's got 21. But, you know, when you're struggling and you're having a tough day and a tough year, you get a kickoff return, and then you go back to the 10-yard line. That doesn't help.
Jeff George sets his team now 90 yards away from the Patriot end zone. First down and 10. Pitch back to A.J. Anthony Johnson, and the Patriots come calling as their outside pursuit sweeps him under back at the 5-yard line. So a bad situation gets worse now for Indianapolis as they'll have second down and almost 15 yards to go for the first down.
You take a look at it now, and the defense, when Johnson gets back to the outside, watch how many people are out there. They're all in a position to make the play. And then Poole makes the play. So you're talking about a quarterback making the tackle.
Hand off as Johnson turns it outside, looks for room to go, and again the Patriots, with an inspired defense, come out hitting hard. Apparently that touchdown throw to McMurtry at the end of the first half picked up the whole team, because the New England defense rising up now, and they stop the Indianapolis Colts cold again. But Maurice Hurst goes down with an injury.
I don't know if he's holding his shoulder or his arm, but Maurice Hurst, I mean, he went down. Talk about some hitting out there. There's Joe Collier, defensive coordinator, my old coach. But the play inside. Now Hurst is being blocked, and here comes Johnson. Watch, they almost take him right by the head. Bang, right here. Almost a face mask by Hurst, but Hurst gets hit by his own man, Tim Gordon, number 41, knees him in the head.
So Maurice Hurst goes off the playing field. And the New England Patriots now have the Colts backed up in this opening series of the third quarter. Third down and 12 arises for Jeff George and the Colts. 21-21 game. Colts today are 2 of 5 on converting third downs. Bill Brooks comes wide left. He's been quiet. Wide right goes Jesse Hester and Langhorne as George will throw from the shotgun. No, he does not. He gives up, and Anthony Johnson breaks it upfield, and with a penalty marker down, Johnson's not close to a first down, but we'll see what the call is.
They got a holding call, and I'd refuse this.
Sure they will. It'd bring
Oh,
a
yeah.
fourth down. They have to punt it from their goal line.
Holding on the defense.
Wow, that's an expensive penalty.
You know, it's one of the hardest things in the world for me to see, holding, a defensive holding on a run play. It becomes, first of all, it becomes an automatic first down for the
Illegal
Colts.
use of hands, number 92 on the defense, grabbing the face mask. 5-yard penalty.
Ray
first
Agnew.
down.
Look in the center of the screen, and there's the face mask right there, Agnew on Donaldson. And I'll tell you something, Donaldson also had his. Boy, that breaks your back. I mean, you got him punting the ball. They don't pick up the first down, and you give them an automatic first down.
So the Patriots make a mistake. The Colts get a break, and the ball is now out to the 17-yard line, and it's a first down for Indianapolis. Check this out a bit more. The clock shows less than a minute and a half gone by here in the third quarter. A 21-21 game. They start the clock. And Jeff George, with new life, sets his team first and 10, just short of his 20. Out throw, and Jesse Hester comes back at the ball, makes the catch, then loses it. They're going to rule it a catch. And he had possession, then lost it. So it's a first down for the Colts.
David Poole on the coverage. Hester just to the outside. Watch this. Poole closes quickly. Hester catches the ball. This is a catch, and then the ball comes out. That is a catch.
Pretty close to not being one, it would seem. Scarnecchia hoping his team does not self-destruct with the mistakes that have been so costly to the Patriots in second halves in this 0-9 season. First down and 10 Colts. Blitz by Big Rush, and eluding it is George, and he makes the throw to Anthony Johnson. First down Colts. Brent Williams was in pursuit of Jeff George, and we talked earlier how Scarnecchia said George is the best off-balance thrower I've ever seen. That time he was off-balance and threw a perfect strike.
Brent Williams, number 96. I mean, he was there, but he could have almost had George in the backfield. But look when this ball is thrown over Tippett's arms. There's just no chance for it. And watch this. Johnson is on the outside. He breaks out, then he sees George coming back to the outside, so he just cuts it back. That's just a great adjustment by the receiver. Well, that was ugly at best.
Markers go down before the snap of the ball. It was a first and 10 play, or one will be.
Start on the center prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Ray Donaldson called for the penalty, so Marchibroda now sees his team set back 5 yards, and they'll go first and 15. But the most expensive penalty of this game, without question, was the one earlier when the Patriots stopped the Colts cold on third down in a running play by Johnson. But there was a defensive holding call. Instead of getting the ball on a punt, it was a first down. Here's a throw. Carthon, who doesn't get many thrown to him, catches fewer.
Defense outside, he'll bring it back. It'll be first down and 10 again. Carthon, it was a nice, I mean, he knocked that ball down beautifully. That's Agnew. No, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's Goad coming in on Jeff George, and he gets him right around the ankles.
Almost
George,
around the knee.
Yeah, he's all right, though. George is fine, but to throw out to Carthon,
Illegal motion, number 23 on the offense, moving forward before the snap, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You know, it looked like the defense was offside, but they called motion on Johnson.
Now it's 1st and 20. Long way to go. 1st down and 20 for the Colts. Game is tied 21-21 early in the 3rd quarter. Throw, catch, Langhorne on the run. And he's taken down to the 33-yard line. And Jeff George, who really made some disastrous throws in the first half, now looks like what he's supposed to be, the best young passer in the league, along with Aikman.
All right, this is Langhorne, but you want to know how perfect this is? This is when you catch him in too deep, or single up in the front, and then deep help by the safety. Watch where this ball's thrown between Poole and Robbins, Randy Robbins, and that ball is perfect.
It was a 1st and 20 play. It was a 26-yard gain as Johnson protects the ball, running on 1st down. You run at the left side of the Patriot defense. You usually have about 5 people throwing you back, led by their best down lineman, their best end, Ray Agnew, who's been out with injuries. Number 92, Chris Singleton, also playing well after he's been down with injuries.
Agnew's got a big old club on that left arm. Look at that thing.
Yeah, he had an elbow injury. A former number 1 draft choice. 2nd down and 9 now for the Colts. Tie game. George looks to buy time, lofts a long ball. Hester's out there. It's broken up at the last moment by Maurice Hurst, who you'll remember was shaken up a bit earlier, but recovered nicely as that ball hung a bit, Paul, and he had time to get to it.
It really did, and Hurst made the adjustment on the ball he had to. Look at Hurst. He sees the ball, he turns, he gets himself square. Watch Hester, though. Jesse Hester just really stays with it. Here's the play to the outside. You're right when you say the ball's hanging in the air. It gives Maurice Hurst enough time to get back and make the play on the ball. Good defensive play. Just not throwing to Billy Brooks today.
Open man, Langhorne, just a bit long as Jeff George triggers a spiral downfield, and Langhorne diving at the ball at the end zone was just inches short. So
Henderson down there. Yeah. Whoops.
He was open. He beaten the defense. Ron Stark is out to punt.
No.
Biasucci's out. Stark is out, but he's going to hold. Biasucci's going to try a long field goal. 49-yarder.
He's going to make this.
Well, he missed right, and he missed left. He did make one, but it was called back by a penalty.
He's going to make this.
It's on the way. It's good. Dean Biasucci gets a standing ovation as he hits what is officially a 48-yarder. And again, for the 4th time today, Indianapolis takes the lead.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Hertz's Fastest Service, now in more locations coast to coast. By cold filtered Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? By Prestone, it stops the rust that stops your car. And by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Something to celebrate for the Colts and their fans as Dean Biasucci has troubled all season long making field goals. Just hit a 48-yarder to break the tie. It's now a 24-21 game Indianapolis as Biasucci is set to kick off to the Patriots. Vaughn and Timpson are back.
Just too close before, Rick. You got to get further out. That's it.
That was right. Farther out. He's got a long distance leg. He's hit from 55. That was his longest of this year. And he kicks another fine kickoff, drives it 8 yards deep into the end zone, and Vaughn will not bring it out. So on the touchback, the Patriots will go 1st and 10 from their 20. And Scott Zolak coming out, hoping to pick up where he left off. His last throw of the first half, a 56-yard scoring play to McMurtry that tied the game.
But you got to, I know the young man is excited. Here he is the second half, just before the half ended. He threw the touchdown. There's his father watching on. But kind of calm him down a little bit. Get him back to the basics. The little short passes, little 5 to 6 yard passes. You got Irving Fryer. He's out there one-on-one on Eugene Daniel. Now they're moving him back on this side. Now they got to go move back to the other side.
Pitch back to Vaughn. And the Colts are there strong on defense to fill and make the knockdown. We check the 10-minute ticker. The Skins finally getting on the board at Kansas City, but still out of the game in the third quarter. Here. Ball is at the 21-yard line, a gain of just a yard on the last carry. Zolak with an eye set. Vaughn's the eye back. 3 wide receivers set, no tight end. Here's a throw. John Stevens turns up and in and crashes ahead, and he has a first down for New England.
Well, I like what Vaughn just did that time. Number 24, the running back. He wasn't into play. Stevens got it. You see Stevens giving him a pat. He came back and made the block to help him get the first down. Watch what happens at the end of this play. See 24, he's faking right there. Now they give the ball to Stevens to throw, and watch who comes back into the play to help out. On the left of the screen, here he comes. Bang! He makes the block. Stevens gets the first down. That's hustle.
Sidearms the ball, and somehow Marv Cook comes down with it. So Cook with his second catch of the day, and one of the best of this day by anyone, coming back to the offside and making the grab on the ball.
Zolak says, nice catch. Chip Banks is going to be in his face right here.
Nice.
Watch this. You're right, a little sidearm, a little flip to the outside. Was a nice catch. And pick up 6 yards on the play.
38 catches this year for Marv Cook. He had 82 last season, led all NFL tight ends in receptions, and as you see, went to the Pro Bowl.
You know, and I think they're doing the right thing with Zolak in the second half. Keep him calm. Don't let him get, worried about throwing so far downfield. Just keep everything basic, the simple parts.
John Stevens trying to buy a lane with those stutter step fakes, and he takes the ball out across the 40-yard line to the 41, and he has another Patriot first down.
Correct, and you got to know that Jeff Harrod is hurting. Bickett didn't play. Harrod is playing with a bad shoulder. You can see underneath, and then you see Banks on the outside. Watch number 54, Harrod. Normally you would see him throwing his body into this. They go back to the outside, and watch what Harrod does here. Look at this. Doesn't even reach, and he's trying to get out of the way. He's just really there in spirit. He's not 100%, not 100, he's not even 50%, but he's out there playing.
Very few guys would be out there. He's been a terrific player from Ole Miss. Jeff Harrod, great leader. And as you saw, the leading tackler season after season, and now the Colts come hitting hard again on a first down carry. There is no gain on the play, as Sam Clancy was the first guy to get to John Vaughn. Harrod was telling us yesterday he was ready to go in the Marine Corps growing up in Alabama. Jeff Harrod, number 54, a longtime backer, and he said, coach of another high school said, you ought to look at this guy. He's a very good player, and Ole Miss looked at films and gave him a scholarship. Only school that contacted him.
Yeah, and there he is. He's trying to get back in on a play. He doesn't make the play. Stevens blocks him. We had 2 guys come off. Saragusa came off, and so did Sam Clancy on the defensive line.
Zolak lofts it down the middle to Irving Fryer. Irving keeps working and steps out of bounds at midfield, close to a first down. He might have one depending on the spot.
I was watching Irving go up in the air. He's coming across the middle, and Zolak kind of put the ball, hung him out to dry. Fryer was talking about this yesterday. Watch how high this ball is. But there's no one around. Whoa. Look real quick. Radisic was there, but Baylor misses right here. Zolak, I mean, he throws the ball a little bit high. Happy with the play. It's third down and short. But that's the one thing Irvin Fryer said yesterday. He may kind of hang you out to dry a little bit because you really don't know where he's going to throw the ball.
Irving enjoying it at any rate. Third down, less than a yard. Stevens puts his head down and looks like he got there as the linesman run in. And the spot looks to be enough. We'll wait and see, but it's going to be by the nose of the ball where the one linesman came in.
They're going, well, yeah, I think they're going to make it, you're right, by the nose of the ball, because this was not a good spot. I thought Stevens was a little bit further.
I thought he had it also.
Teddy saying, look, they gave him a great mark. I thought they gave him a bad mark, Ted.
Teddy Marchibroda started saying that he does have it by the nose of the ball.
Nice going, the Crickster, right in front of you here. Geets gets another one.
Oh, the coach didn't like that one, though.
No, I didn't like the mark in the beginning, and I thought the mark was short anyway.
His turnaround story of the Colts in Baltimore and in Indianapolis, though, is pretty dramatic. Right away made him better.
Yeah, look at the surge of John Stevens. Right there. Now they push him back. Well, they got the first anyway. It doesn't make any difference. Marchibroda's done a great job tonight.
Terrific. Took over a 2-12 team in Baltimore. First year they won the division. Took over a 1-15 team. If they hold on and win this one, they'll be 5-5 in his first year. Zolak lets it rip. Irving Fryer has a step on the defense. But the defenders come in and converge at the absolute optimum moment. Knock the ball free as Irving Fryer almost had a 60-yard gain. Mike Fryer was the man who came in and popped the ball free, and one of the cornerbacks also shaken up.
Well, Fryer ends up becoming a defensive player here because he uses his helmet to knock the ball away from Fryer. From Fryer. Watch Fryer's head. Hits the ball. Good goes down.
So while Chris Good is attended to, there's a break in the action. Teddy Marchibroda, he puts in about 5 miles a game walking the sidelines. Don Quickie with Paul McGuire. Marchibroda came in here, though. We talk about how he turns teams around. He said the first thing he did, he looked at the films and told these guys, hey, you're a lot better than you think you are. There's a lot of talent here. We can win.
And he really believes that, you know. And I'll tell you another thing about Teddy Marchibroda. They really miss him in Buffalo. I mean, he's the guy that made that system work. I mean, of course, the quarterback's got to do it, too.
Jeff Harrod. Big player with a big play. But you see the turnaround story of Marchibroda. What he did in Baltimore was absolutely amazing. 74, when he wasn't the coach, they were 2-12. His first year there, they were 10-4, and they won 3 straight divisional championships, 75, 76, and 77. And the story here is well known, certainly to Colt fans. They were 1-15 last year, and so far this year 4-5. Lost their last 2, but through 7 games they were a 4-3 team. He's an offensive specialist, played at St. Bonaventure with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd and long yardage, 3rd and 16. Zolak on the run, looking to buy time, and he does well to throw the ball away. No marker down. Now there's one at the line of scrimmage. Almost looked, Paul, like an intentional grounding.
Well, what happened, he was looking downfield, and Timpson took off instead of coming back, and he's looking at Timpson here. Now, you see him break to the outside. The rush is on, but he's trying to get the ball to Timpson, and Timpson takes off upfield. Baylor was right there to make the play, but there, as you said, there was a flag on the field.
John Baylor, the strong safety, they've sent him a few times during this game trying to get to Zolak.
You know, one of the things when you were talking about Marchibroda, too, is that they got holding against New England, and they're going to refuse. I would refuse the penalty, get the ball back. But Marchibroda is that, you know, he's trying to run the hurry-up offense, and you're teaching a whole system to a team. And granted, they've won 4 games. But he's let Jeff George come as easily as possible.
Illegal chop block on the offense at the 15-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
They're not gonna make him punt the ball. They're putting it back. 15-yard penalty. Well, got a young quarterback. Put the heat on him.
Well,
last time they had him in a situation, he threw a touchdown.
That's right. 56-yard play to McMurtry.
But just to finish the thought about Ted Marchibroda, when I'm talking about the hurry-up offense, when you don't have the same personnel week after week after week, it's very difficult to teach people. And that's one of the big problems here is the injuries.
Crowd kicks in now. Zolak hands off. And the rookie Kevin Turner runs it, and rather well, though he is thrown back. And again, it's Harrod coming up with the hit. Jeff Harrod, 54. guy is a football player.
He really is. And Jason Belzer also gets in there, number 29. But we're just going to watch a Rod here. He sees the run. There was a mix-up in the backfield. Watch this. You cut back in, you're going to get hammered. And there's a Rod. Belzer on the bottom.
So on 4th and 21, Verdun drops back. The ever-dangerous Clarence Verdun, who returned the first punt of this day for a touchdown. John McCarthy ready to hit his 4th punt of the day for the Patriots.
Still would kick that ball out of bounds about the 20-yard line. I would never let Verdun get his hands even near it.
So he's going to get it, and he's going to run it back from the 8. Darting and dancing, and Clarence Verdun is out to the 22-yard line. And there the Colts holding to a 24-21 lead. Will go on offense 1st and 10 when we come back to the Hoosier Dome. 112-mile bike ride, 26-mile marathon, 2.4-mile ocean swim. Next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern time on NBC. George lets her rip. Ooh. So close, yet a bit far as it again skips off the fingertips of Reggie Langhorne. There's also a penalty marker down, and it's down in the backfield of New England.
Well, there's right there where Poole was covering Langhorne. And they're going to call Poole for an illegal chuck. Here comes Langhorne. He puts his hand right there. After 5 yards, you can't hit him. It's an illegal chuck.
On the defense, number 27, 5-yard penalty.
But, you know, just a very interesting thing at the end of this play. Did you see what Poole did? Watch his right arm. Watch what he does. The ball touches. Now he hits his arms down and actually knocks the ball away. Heads up defense, but he already made a legal chuck.
So it will be 1st down and 10 on the 27-yard line. 3:15 to go in the 3rd quarter. Colts with the ball and a 3-point lead. George sidearms the ball. This time Carthen gets it and holds on. This has been a home field of sorts for the Patriots in recent years. The Patriots have won here at the Hoosier Dome the last 3 years, and recently, over the last 8 years, they have beaten the Colts 13 of 16 times. 3 straight and 6 of 8 at the Hoosier Dome.
I was just watching Maurice Carthen make a catch here. And we said at the beginning of the show, I said that he probably carried the ball 2 or 3 times. Has he carried it at all?
I don't think he has.
0.
Brent Williams makes the tackle there.
Yeah, he threw it to him twice. He caught one, knocked one down.
Colts taking time off the clock here, Paul, as they let it tick down. 2:20 to play. Send in extra people now with a 3rd down and 1 coming up. Extra tight end comes in, and so does I-back Rod Culver.
Tom Ricketts. I'm sorry, Crick. Yeah. Tom Ricketts is in. He reported he is the end on the line.
Former top draft choice of the Steelers. And Rod Culver turns it up, and he gets ahead. A tough yard. He got 2. It's a 1st down for Indianapolis with 1:48 to play in the 3rd quarter.
I really thought that the Patriots were going to stuff this play because of the push of the defensive line. Watch this defensive line. You see the offensive line going back? But there is one little gap that Culver finds to pick up the 1st down. But the defensive charge was so good, I thought they were going to push him right back in the backfield. He's upset because he thought he could have gone all the way had he got through that hole. Oops, offside.
Yeah, they might have got Tim Goad in the neutral zone. Throwing a catch. 1st down play for the Colts. Anthony Johnson again coming out of the backfield. Johnson putting up numbers, running the ball and catching it.
One of the bad things about being offside like Tim Goad did there is that once you go off and you're coming back, now you're totally out of the play because you have no strength to go anywhere. You can't rush the passer. You can't help your defense.
On the defense, number 72, penalty decline, 1st down.
Anthony Johnson with 3 receptions today for 74 yards. He continues to play great football for the Colts.
I mean, that's the guy that's not only been running the ball very well, but he's also making some great catches, and it's almost like they kind of forget about him. You can't cover Anthony Johnson with a linebacker, and you see Randy Robbins, number 48, is up close, looking for some help deep. That's a 33-yard pass. He did not get any help deep. I don't know whose fault it was, whether Tim Gordon was supposed to get over or not, but it looked like an awful lot of running room for Johnson.
Johnson now with 5 catches for 104 yards. We'll give you his rushing numbers in a moment. 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Here's a throw and a catch, and Langhorne's down to the goal line. Johnson with 15 rushes for 68 yards, so he has 172 yards offense for the Colts, who in recent weeks have had no offense.
Let me tell you something, Cricky. We're here, my friend, and we see it. But I'll tell you, that ball, you talk about get there in a hurry. Can we freeze this when that ball comes in? Poole has no chance. Watch this pass. Bang. Here it comes. Look where this ball hits Langhorne. Right on the numbers. And that's excellent coverage by Poole. There was just no chance on the play.
That'll do it for 3 quarters of play. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
The reason we want to show this, watch the coverage by Poole, number 27. I mean, it's perfect. The ball's there, and he's hitting. I mean, you can't cover any better than that. Just a perfect pass.
Now to live action. 1st and goal from a yard away. Culver, the I-back. He gets the ball, and he is down, and he is in. His 2nd touchdown of the day for the rookie back. And the Colts extend their lead now to 30-21 with the extra point coming up.
Do you see what Culver did? Hold it. Well, I want you to hold it. Hold it right there. Watch number 44, Maurice Carthon, blocking Lockhart, 51. And watch where Culver goes. Let me see, where are you, 44? I'll find you. I get touchdown. Had a great block.
Terrific.
That's Carthon again. He's not even carried the ball once. He's caught a pass. But look at him. He's right on Carthon. You find 44, you find the end zone.
So Rod Culver, his 2nd touchdown today, his 4th of this his rookie season. Biasucci finds the range again on the extra point. And the Colts have led on 5 different occasions of this game. This time they extended to 10 points, their biggest margin of the game.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By new Hager wrinkle-free cotton pants. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles. By Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nobody's cooking like today's KFC. And by the heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer.
An extended scoring drive. A big pass play to Langhorne set it up. Then Culver was on the payoff end from a yard out. As after a 78-yard drive, the Colts now open up a 31-21 lead. John Vaughn and Michael Timpson are again back awaiting Biasucci's kickoff. Now ball will be up to Zolak to start firing away as we're into the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and as they said, anything can happen.
To the goal line, Vaughn will run it back. Not very far. Special teams of the Colts. A happy group after that touchdown. Michael Ball led the charge, 31. Here's a penalty marker after the play. Dwayne Saab got into it with somebody.
Yeah, and you just don't want to run up in there and then stop. I mean, that's the one thing you don't do. We got a flag back here at about the 24-yard line. It's against New England. That'll put him back inside the 10. Look at Tony Siragusa is marking it off. He marked off. Come on down here, guys. He's just having a great time.
We had a personal fall, number 95 on the return team, on the run back.
Call on Dwayne Saab, rookie linebacker. A bad moment for Dwayne Saab, but I'll tell you one thing. You talk to coaches here and around the league, this guy's going to be some NFL player.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
he's good.
He's just trying to make some things happen. He's just trying to make some things happen. I mean, they're struggling. They're 0-9. They're looking at 0-10.
Remember that name, Dwayne Saab. Penalties, most extensive again for the Patriots. Looking for room to run is John Vaughn as he picks 1, 2, 3 holes down the line. All are filled, and he goes wide and gets nothing at all. Chip Banks makes the stop, number 51. Now in his 10th year, a player good enough at USC to start on a national championship team as a freshman.
Now watch this for a second. We'll get back to Banks. You see where this play is designed to run to the left. Now look what Vaughn does. There. He's all the way back to the right. There's no help over there. You've got to follow your blockers.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have a Carthon in there. He's been leading the blocking for the Colt running backs.
Don't forget your tight end.
2nd and 9, back to their 6-yard line of the Patriots. From the end zone, Zolak stands in. Dumps it off, but to the wrong guy. As the coverage was right there, 2 linebackers, both inside backers, Radisek 97 and Harrod 54, make the close and make the hit on John Stevens.
Well, you got Stevens and also Cook in the same spot. They're outlet guys. Watch them. They loop out around. See the official in the middle? Now look at the 2 players. They're there. And that just draws the linebackers and gets your back killed. If they're going to loop out, then get yourself beyond the first down marker. If you don't have anyone to block, at least get downfield far enough to help out.
3rd down for the Pats. They need 6.
Tony Walker, number 92. You see Zolak's father right there. But watch this. You credit this sack to coverage downfield. I mean, these guys are just all over the receivers coming downfield. There was no place for Zolak to throw the ball. He had no one to throw the ball to, so he had to eat it.
Well hit ball by Sean McCarthy. He had to hit it from his end zone. Here's Verdun. Look out. He's to the 36-yard line after a 50-yard punt and a 13-yard return. So with 12:28 to play in the game, it is still a 31-21 game, Indianapolis.
There's Clarence Verdun. We're working on his arm. But we're going to try and show the folks a little bit of something here with the Colts, and the Patriots do the same thing. But in the National Football League, and I go back to 1960 when I started, the weak side guard in this case will be Randy Dixon, number 69. Is usually the left guard when they're on a right-handed football team. He will take you to the play almost every single time except 2 times on a bootleg when the quarterback goes away from all the flow, or on a reverse to get the linebacker rather. And we try to show you a little bit of this.
Of course, a right-handed team, you mean where they're strong to the right, tight end to line to the right.
And the quarterback is right-handed.
Here's a throw. A catch by Anthony Johnson. What a play. He didn't get his chance his first couple of years in the league, Anthony Johnson.
Well, the left guard is Dixon. Watch this. Boom, he sets up. It's a pass. Now, you already know that. Now we're going to go back to the play. When we get a running play, it's a lot easier to show this. But watch this pass. You think that ball is not on target?
You're going right into the teeth of the strong safety and the free safety, and Johnson never looked at him, just at the ball, and takes it for a 33-yard gain. Now the Colts ready to put the knockout punch on if they can, leading by 10 with 1st and goal. George has not been sacked yet today. Look at this! Chris Singleton's on the run. A lineman's in pursuit, and Kevin Cole can't catch him as Chris Singleton, with no flags down, goes about as far as you can go on the field. A 2nd defensive touchdown for New England.
I mean, just when the game could be wrapped up and make it at least 30, at least 34, possibly 38. And here comes New England back. What a super play. Chris Singleton, I mean, you talk about excellent hands and getting control of the ball. Here it is, Jeff George. You know who's in there, don't you? Vincent Brown. Look at it. Vincent Brown puts some heat on. Now the ball, Vincent Brown actually hits George's hand, And Singleton gets it. Look at this. That's when you're saying to yourself, legs, don't fail me now.
Kevin Call making a Herculean effort, at least getting all the way down the field, a 300-pound tackle. But it was a one-man race as Singleton runs it back 82 yards for a touchdown. So Good, a cornerback, or Poole, a cornerback, has a touchdown for the Patriots, and now outside linebacker Chris Singleton does. And the Patriots, seemingly when they were gone, are right back in it, down by 3.
See the goalpost, 59, Vincent Brown. Watch the persistence of Vincent Brown. He's the guy that's responsible for this. First of all, he gets in. Okay, George is there. Now he gets away. Now watch what he does. He is the man that hits the arm. Here it comes from another angle. Vincent Brown there. Now watch. He stays after George, and watch his arm. Bam! He hits the ball up in the air. Singleton gets it. They just hammered, Good hammered George, and a touchdown by Singleton.
Vincent told us yesterday, we can get to George. We think we can force mistakes. That was a big one. And Vincent Brown did it as Ambrose runs the ball back. Patriots come calling. Let's see who has it. They're ruling it's down. The Patriots thought they recovered.
They did.
The officials saying the ball was down. It is Colts ball. Now,
no, it's going to be New England ball. Collins is the guy that gets it, number 54. But watch what happens at the end of it. Kevin Turner knocks the ball away, number 34. 54, Collins gets it. But at the end of this play, he's going to get up, and Kerry Cash is going to drill him. Watch this. If we
it's
maybe put too much on.
Ball,
Watch this. Doink. This is at the end of the play. He's like, well, I'll just stand up and say we have the ball. I'm down. And when he stands up, Cash just drills him.
You talk about things turning fast.
Oh, getting ugly.
Might be up, running up and down the halls of Mass General there.
I think so. They said this one's for you, Coach Mack.
Pitch back. Vaughn. John Baylor, who doesn't get a lot of the claim, but he's a very steady, strong safety.
You know what's wrong with this play? You got one guy in the backfield, and that's Vaughn, and you run a toss. See him here? There's nobody to lead for him. You throw this play outside, and there's really nobody there. There's nobody to take on the corner. There's no receiver out there to block him, and then Baylor just makes the play. You expose the runner to the defensive secondary.
Patriots down by 3. Game clock, a lot of time left. 10 minutes and 35 seconds to play. 31-28 Indianapolis. Reverse. McMurtry looking to throw. He's got a problem. Great defense by the Colts. They didn't buy it. Defensive back stayed with the receivers all the way. Didn't come up to play run.
And you know who made a great block? Scott Zolak blocks Chip Banks. He gets an excellent block. Here comes McMurtry. There's no place to go. But on the left of the screen, see Zolak here? He gets the block on Chip Banks. And then McMurtry's running around just trying to get down. He got right back to the line of scrimmage, and that was it. Don't razzle-dazzle him. Let the young man throw the ball down here. He can throw it.
They had that play in, I know, Paul. They were going to try to Buffalo. Down inside the 30, never did. They probably won't try it again. Big down now for the Patriots. Third down, they need 10. Zolak takes a look. He's on the run. Zolak is down to the 18-yard line, well short of a first down. As Harrod shaken up.
Oh, he had to tackle him with his arm, and he hurt his shoulder again. Talk about a guy playing on guts.
Very few people will be out there playing with the injury Jeff Harrod has. He stands in, and now Bauman comes out. Charlie Bauman, who has hit 4 of 7 field goals this year to kick for New England.
You see Harrod, he's got to reach in with that shoulder, and then he popped, and he just extended it.
Extended himself, but in so doing, stopped what would have been a first down run by the quarterback. Field goal is up. It is good from 36 yards out by Charlie Bauman. So not long ago, the Patriots were down by 10, seemingly out of the game, and they're back in a tie.
Engineering.
Tied again, 31-31. These are two teams obviously not heading for the Super Bowl, but they've done about everything on a football field the two teams can do. The only thing we haven't had so far is the now famous fumble Ruski. We might see that yet, Paul.
You know, when we were told that we were having this game, I told some people we've got New England and Indianapolis, and they said, why? And I said, well, let me tell you why. It's going to be a good football game. And you and I, we've been talking about this. This is a great football game to do and to watch. These guys are doing everything that they could possibly do to win the ball game. We're in a situation about 3 or 4 minutes ago where the Colts could have wrapped it up. And now it's tied.
They seemingly were out of the game, down by 10, and the Colts looked like they were going to go in again. Then came the interception return for a touchdown by Singleton. Now the field goal by Bauman. And we start a whole new ball game with 8:48 to play. Verdin and Ambrose back deep again now for Indianapolis. That is Ambrose, a top rookie cornerback to the right. Bauman hits a knuckler downfield. Verdin on the one hop. Looking for the lane. And a terrific return by Clarence Verdin, who continues to have a big day. Finally, Ben Coates, 87, got to him.
Does he love to run? Watch Verdin. He takes it right on the one hop. The blocking is to his right. But he says, well, wait a minute. The hole may be over here. Let's take a walk over this way for a while. And just some excellent play by Verdin to bring the ball out to the 38-yard line. He comes off before in the last. His arm was hurting. He was limping a little bit. These guys recover in a hurry, you know.
Yes, they do. Consummate professionals giving it all. Here's a throw down the middle, and running with the ball is Bill Brooks. Boston fans may remember from his days at Northeastern. Or Boston U, if Bill Brooks can play that.
Bill Brooks, this is his first pass of the day.
He's a Terrier.
Now you got Johnson back on the outside, and Tim Gordon's going to line up to cover him.
First down throw again to Bill Brooks. Did not have any catches. All of a sudden he has 2 in a row. And the Colts make it happen fast on the right arm of Jeff George.
Well, David Poole misses the tackle. Bill George catches the ball, but when he does, Poole makes the mistake. Here it is right here. You see the ball. Now, this wouldn't have been a first down. It would have been second down, except Poole's there. He reaches in. Watch Brooks spin right back outside, maintain his cool, and pick up the first down.
Anthony Johnson, they're reading him all the way. Dwayne Saab's going to get himself another one.
Well, Vincent Brown just about made a wish with Johnson's legs. He had his leg up in the air. Looked like Thanksgiving's coming up. He's practicing. Watch this, 59, Vincent Brown. He's in the backfield. Now he grabs his leg. Excuse me. Can I have this part? Whoa.
George has now hit 16 of 30 throws for 311 yards. No foul. Good coverage is the ruling, as David Poole was with the receiver, Bill Brooks, all the way on into the end zone, and he knocked it away.
David Poole has had some kind of day. What we said before, he missed the tackle, but look at this.
Right,
and these guys are really fighting over the ball. They're letting them play down there. If there would have been anything on that play, it would be offensive pass interference on Brooks, because Poole had the position.
And now third down arises. Jeff George, who's had problems with his pass protection in recent weeks, has not been sacked today, but Vincent Brown really did something better when he hit his arm as he was throwing the interception return for a touchdown. Here's a throw and a catch. Who else but Anthony Johnson comes off the flank. But on 3rd and 14, he's short, and Biasucci and the field goal team are ready to come out.
Well, here's a play that really gives you an idea what kind of a gun Jeff George has, because Deion Lambert, number 28, should have been able to make a play on the ball. But that ball was in there so quickly, he had no chance. Watch down here. See number 28? Watch Lambert. Watch how fast this ball goes by him. He doesn't even see it.
He can really sing it. Ron Stark, the holder. This will be officially a 33-yarder. It is on the way, and Dean Biasucci, as is the case with most kickers with the peaks and valleys, finds himself up on the top again as he hits another field goal, and it's a go-ahead field goal with 6:08 to play. Tonight it's a special 2-hour all-new eyewitness video starting at 7/6 Central on NBC. See incredible footage of a family trapped on a lake in the face of a raging tornado, plus a prison riot videotaped from the inside. Then Phil Donahue celebrates 25 years of television with a 2-hour primetime star-studded special. Donahue, the 25th anniversary. That's tonight at 9, 8 Central Time on NBC. The heat's on Zolak now to get the Patriots down the field. Try to get him in the end zone, if not at least send it to overtime if they can get the field goal by Bauman.
As the pressure's on, and again, there's 6 minutes to go in this quarter, and they still have 3 timeouts. There is absolutely plenty of time. Don't change your game plan now, and don't go crazy trying to get the ball way downfield. But just take what they give you. If they're going to give you the short stuff, go ahead and take it. You have plenty of time to get the ball in a position to at least tie the game. But better yet, a chance to win the ball game. Let him go. Don't handcuff him now.
Two teams that have struggled on offense. Colts came in with the 27th offense in the NFL. Patriots were down near the bottom. But with defensive plays, there's been a lot of points put up today as, again, John Vaughn and Michael Timpson are back for New England. Biasucci with a long kickoff again. A high spinner carries into the end zone, and Vaughn will bring it back. And a penalty marker comes in. We haven't lacked for those today, Paul.
No, there's been Flag Day here. They wore out the yellow job.
New England with 10 penalties today for 95 yards. Colts with 4 for 30 yards.
Every time there's a penalty, Siragusa is the guy that marks it off for his team. He goes down. He marks it off. All right, guys, here we are. Right here. Yeah, we got. So look at him. I think he's having a good time. Yeah, put it down here. Right here.
First down.
He's a funny man.
He's helped, though. He's constantly plugging up the middle, Tony Siragusa. 5:57 to play in the game, and here come the Patriots out of the huddle. A clap of the hands, and the first-year quarterback, Zolak, looking to lead his team from deep in his own end. John Vaughn breaks it to the outside with a great move. Vaughn is ahead and out across the 30. Gain on the play of some 25 yards and a first down.
He just ran right through John Baylor. He gets Baylor set up. Watch Vaughn here. He cuts back to his left, and here comes Baylor. There goes Baylor. He just threw him on the ground. Excellent run. Again, don't get out of your offense. This is what they tried to do. This is the design of this offense, to get out on the corners, do what you can. Look at Vaughn's got 84 yards.
That one really helped the Patriots. Got him out of jail. And now they're across their 30 with a lot of time left. 5:13 to play. John Vaughn runs. Good defense by Chris Goo, the left side cornerback. Number 37, as the game clock is now down, as you see, inside of 5 minutes to play. Rick Venturi looking to call the right defenses. He was the head coach here last year.
Now here goes Vaughn. Here's that toss again to the outside. Now you got Stevens. At least he's got a chance to get a shot at the corner, but he doesn't make the block. And Jeff Arad out there. Hey, Redding, number 70, has just been cutting Siragusa. I mean, he was going right at his legs. Now Siragusa's lined up on the right guard.
Hauled straight out. Zolak takes a look. He'll run it himself. steps out of bounds, but he didn't get anything. As fast as he may have lost a yard.
Again, you credit the defensive secondary for this. There's just no place for Zolak to throw the ball, so he does the one thing, the smart thing, and get it upfield as far as he can and get out of bounds. Jeff Arad, 54. I guess you can start when you start defense with the Colts. You start Jeff Arad, and then whoever else you want to fill in.
There's a lot of their great defenders are down. The top 2 picks in the last draft, Entman and Coriat, both down with injuries. Pickett hasn't played today. He's been a Pro Bowl linebacker. Zolak in trouble.
You want to start with Arad again?
Jeff Arad. 4th sack of Zolak by the Colts. This guy wants you to do anything but pat him on the left shoulder.
Yeah, don't hit him on the shoulder. You can say all these nice things to him, but don't touch him there because his shoulder's killing him, his left shoulder. But here he comes. Arad, he goes right over Stevens, right to Zolak. And look at this. He just stays with it. Remember, it's his left shoulder. He makes the play. Whoa. I like that little move. Is that the Heisman deal?
To the Heisman move.
Who wants it? You're not eligible, Jeff. What a kick.
Verdun lets it hop out of bounds. And the Colts will go back on offense after the 52-yard punt and no return. Steve Entman, the #1 pick in the draft last April, the great defensive lineman from the University of Washington, who was having an all-pro year before he was injured. He suffered a knee injury last year that'll keep him out the rest of the season, although no reconstructive knee surgery was needed.
Going to get Tony Saragusa to get out of the way. Tony.
Going with the black sock today is Steve.
Yeah, that's not a fashion plate.
And there is Quentin Coriat. He was the #2 pick in the first round, a linebacker from Texas A&M. Another one that's going to be something to behold is to see as the years wear on. He went out with a fracture of his wrist, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
It just kills these guys to sit there and watch this and not be able to participate. And I still think Entman is going to end up being a defensive rookie of the year.
He absolutely dominated some games in this his first year. Anthony Johnson turns it up and turns it in and gets to the 37-yard line, a gain of 8 yards on the play.
You know, we were talking about Arad, Jeff Arad, and how he's doing. Well, I'll tell you what, Vincent Brown, he's the guy that hit Jeff George before. He just knocked his own man out of the way. You can't help, get out of the way. This guy is tough. I'm not kidding. When I looked at him yesterday, look at this guy. And he's the only, I mean it, the only person I've ever seen with muscles in his face.
Very soft-spoken.
Oh,
very hard-hitting.
Can he play?
A man called The Undertaker.
I hope so.
Anthony Johnson with 72 yards rushing, 163 yards receiving. He fights close to a first down. Had to get to the 40-yard line and appears to be very close to it, as the Colts run the clock and the Patriots try to get the ball back. First down, Indianapolis.
Oh, Vincent Brown. He is really strong. You know, you're going to see Johnson going into the play, and watch what this guy does with one hand. You ready? Here he comes. Watch this. Here, come here. Get over here. Just one hand pulled him back.
Anthony Johnson now with over 215 yards total offense. 34-31. Here's a ball on the field, and a marker comes in. The umpire threw his hat in, didn't throw his marker in.
Throws his hat in to let him know there's a fumble.
And we're down to the 2-minute warning. And who knows what'll happen with this much time left. We're still waiting for that fumble, Ruski. Defensive coordinator Joe Collier of the Patriots trying to call that turnover play if he can for his defense. Second down and 11 is coming up for George and the Colts.
And the only thing the Patriots can do now is they've got to use their timeouts here. They can't save anything.
Each team with its full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. 2 minutes to play in the game. Colts by 3. Anthony Johnson doesn't find much as he tries the right side of the New England defense. And again, the omnipresent number 59, Vincent Brown, is the tackler, along with Lockhart. Scarnecchia knows his team's getting another chance, but his young quarterback might not have a whole lot of time to work with. Game clock shows 1:54 to play, and the clock stopped on the New England timeout.
Yeah, they took 1 timeout. They have 2 left, and if they hold them here, they'll take another one, which will leave 1 timeout. But the biggest problem is you've got the best punter in the National Football League going to be able to hit that ball, and you're going to have to go at least 80.
Houston coming from behind to lead the Vikings 17-13. A tremendous upset victory, possibly in the offing for the Oilers. Kansas City still laying waste to the Redskins.
Green Bay, they beat Philadelphia in Milwaukee.
Steelers have rallied from behind. They now lead the Lions. San Diego with a big upset win, beating the Browns at Cleveland in the snow and cold. San Diego, another rising team that was nowhere until their new coach Bobby Ross arrived. 0-4. They now won 5 of their last 6. And an 0-4 start to the Chargers. Ball skips in, incomplete, intended for Bill Brook. Maurice Hurst was covering, so Jeff George on 3rd down pitches and doesn't make the connection, and the Colts have to punt it back to New England.
2 bad things happen. Number 1 is that New England, now they didn't have to take a timeout. I'm talking about for the Colts. The incomplete pass stops the clock, and you don't pick up the 1st down. Now, Scott Zolak's got 2 timeouts, and he'll have about 1 minute and 40 seconds, which is plenty of time to get himself in field goal range. Again, watch this guy hit the ball low.
Ron Stark, one of the NFL's all-time best punters. It's a high, long spiral. Walter Stanley goes back for the Patriots. It takes a cold bounce. And Jason Belzer downs it inside the 5-yard line. Well, he cuts it actually at the 6. That's where the ball will be down. 53-yard punt with no return.
And Stanley did the thing he was supposed to do. You really don't go back and catch the ball inside the 10. I mean, the chance of that ball stopping right there are slim. But watch what happens. He knows he's at the 5. He lets the ball go. But the ball takes a bounce and goes dead left. What a great punt. I said 80 yards? How about 94?
But Dick McPherson talks about when you start at your 20, it's not 1st and 10, it's 1st and 80. That's how far you have to go.
Well, it's 1st and 94 here.
94. Well, actually closer than that to get in field goal range. But Zolak has to make the throws now. From his end zone, he's ready to pitch. Out pattern, connection. Michael Timpson, a Florida sprint champion, runs it out to the 31-yard line. A big gain on the play and a 1st down.
What a good throw. That time by Zolak to the outside. Yeah, there is a difference, Crick, when you have time to throw the ball.
That was good for 25 yards. Here comes Sherrod on a blitz. Zolak going to run it.
Take a timeout here. Use a timeout.
They're not doing it as you see the clock tick down.
The reason you do that, you got your receivers are downfield, Crick, and you should take a timeout. Too much time goes off the clock.
The coach was in the stands was calling for timeout too. Oh boy. Now we come to 3rd down and a long way to go. It'll be 3rd and 21 back at the 20-yard line.
Now the question is, did he just take his eye off the ball, or was it a bad snap? I mean, the ball went right through his hands.
Looked like it might have come a snap count early.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. I mean, was it centered early or what? But he has enough presence of mind to take a timeout. But you're looking at a 3rd down and a whole bunch. 21 yards to go. The most important thing here is to get It's a 4-down situation anyway. So the most important thing here is to get at least half of it. That gives you a chance on 4th down. If you run it, they'll give you a 10-yard play, and usually we talked about it earlier before the half. Remember when he completed the pass to McMurtry for the touchdown? The Colts will give you the middle because you only have 1 timeout left. So the middle, if you're going to throw the ball here with 46 seconds, go ahead and take the middle.
They'll be pitching on both downs. This one is 3rd and 21. Almost another errant snap. There's a throw and a catch. Timpson has it just short of the 1st down. And they have to call timeout again, and they get it with 37 seconds left to play.
You got a 4th down situation now, and here's where you just take and you get the ball. You really can't run the ball. I mean, you can't run it.
No. If you're out of timeouts.
You're out of timeouts, and I don't care what you do, because by the time you run the ball and you get set again, you're going to lose about 15 to 20 seconds on the clock. So what you do now is you take that little short out about 7 or 8 yards, which they'll probably give them, and go ahead and take that for the 1st down, and then worry about getting yourself in field goal range with the remaining about 30 seconds.
Next up for the Patriots, they'll be going home to play the Jets next Sunday at Foxborough. And the Colts will be heading into Pittsburgh to play the upstart Steelers, who won again today and are now a 7-3 team. Had only 7 wins all of last year.
Good teams find a way to win, you know.
Now let's see if we're not going to call the Patriots a good team at this point, but they keep finding ways to get back in the game. Now they've got to get in field goal range with no timeouts. Another bad snap. Comes down with the ball. He has a 1st down, but they've got to hurry. They can't stop the clock. Patriots quickly align without the huddle as you see the game clock ticking out. And Zolak downs the ball to stop the clock with 23 seconds left to play. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. Coordinating producer of NBC's football is John Feretzis. Today's game was produced by Terry Eward, directed by John Gilmartin. Tell him to throw it down. That's what he did. Associate Director Dick Ellis, production associate Molly Solomon. Don Criqui with Paul McGuire at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis as we're down to the closing seconds. The Patriots looking to end a 9-game losing streak, a winless season, but the odds are against now. Zolak stands in. There's a throw to an open man.
Oh, got to get out of bounds.
Got to get out of bounds, and the Patriots, Irving Fryer can't do it. That is the father of the coach of the New England Patriots, Scott Zolak, his high school coach you saw in the stands, who was also the high school coach of Joe Montana. Zolak has played a commendable game, and right now he's trying to get the winless Patriots in position for what might be a game-tying field goal. Don Criqui with Paul McGuire at the Hoosier Dome. It has been a wild game. Defensive touchdowns, punt returns for touchdowns, and what was expected to be a low-scoring game. We've had scores every other blink of the eye.
When it first started out on the first punt, the Patriots received the opening kickoff, went 3 plays, punted. Clarence Verdun ran it for a touchdown. What Zolak has to do here is pick up at least 10 yards. Get the ball to the 30 out of bounds. It's got to be a quick pass.
Has to be an out pattern. Has to be an out pattern. It is, and they get it out of bounds at the 27-yard line with 2 seconds left. Irving Fryer on the receiving end. So Charlie Bauman comes on out. He is well within range. Bauman hit one earlier. His career best is a 48-yarder. Zolak got him in range when all odds were against.
Zolak is going to be around the National Football League for a long time, Mr. Criqui.
His teammate said he's out there. He's a little bit of a free spirit, but he led the way today. All the injuries, the coach of the Patriots, Dick McPherson, watching in a hospital after undergoing successful surgery. The field goes on the way by Bauman. It's good.
We've got overtime.
The Patriots have tied the game, and we go to overtime. And if you're joining us now, this is the Paul Zolak you're looking at in the stands, who's the father of Scott Zolak, and he coached at Ringgold High School in Monongahela, Pennsylvania. His prize player was Joe Montana. And Joe gave his son the encouragement to try to be an NFL player, which he's been today, big time. And now Bauman hits the field goal attempt, tying the game as time runs out. There is Dante Scarnecchia standing in for the hospital bound right now Dick McPherson, the head coach of the Patriots, who underwent successful surgery for acute diverticulitis condition a couple of nights ago. Coach Mack will be back soon.
I think he's healed after today.
He might be out of the hospital, right?
Well, the people that joined us, you joined us on that last play by Scott Zolak to pick up the first down and then kick the field goal. But that drive started with the 1:40 at the 6-yard line. The 6-yard line. So, I mean, the poise of this young man, and even like yesterday, when we talked to him, and this morning I spent some time down on the field with Scott Zolak, he really has a lot of confidence. He said, I'm not worried about what I'm going to do. I can get it done.
Heads it is. Indianapolis
gets the ball. But the funny part was Irving Fryar saying, yeah, he's going to get it done, but we don't know what he's going to do.
A big moment. The initial break for the overtime goes to the Colts. They'll get the ball. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations. With Paul McGuire, this is Don Criqui back at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, where a wild game continues on into overtime as quarterback Scott Zolak got his team in position. And then Charlie Bauman hit the tying field goal on the final play of regulation.
He's just having a good time, isn't he?
He's loving it. First of many days, perhaps, for Scott Zolak. Bauman ready to kick off. The Colts won the coin flip, and they'll receive, as you see, the team's records in overtime. They're trying to hide Clarence Verdun. They had him pinned behind Ambrose, so they couldn't kick away, and Clarence Verdun gets the ball. Here's a penalty marker. This is coming back. He's out to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, but he's going to go way back by the 10-yard line. That flag ended on the 20, and that's usually where they'll mark it from, wherever the flag lands. It's amazing how accurate the officials are throwing a flag, isn't it?
They hit the perpetrator.
They aim it at the guy, I think. But I mean, that's where the flag ended, right there. Now they're going to mark it off from there. It's at the 19.
Number 97 on the return team on the run back. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Yeah, I mean, it was that perfect throw because the referee threw it from about the 45-yard line. And there's Radisek right here with the holding. He just pulls down.
Dwayne Saab. Jeff George on first down. There's a throw and a catch. Bill Brooks makes the reception out to the 25-yard line. In overtime, each team gets 2 timeouts. Whether or not that'll come into play, we'll wait to see. We have a world of time left after the Patriots had a score against all odds when time was running out, and they had no timeouts in regulation.
And you're seeing the Colts here, if you hadn't seen them before, they're trying to run the hurry-up offense, which Ted Marchibroda brought to the Buffalo Bills, and they're trying to run that, but they don't run it like in 17 seconds.
On 2nd and 2, the Colts go to a draw to Anthony Johnson, who's had a phenomenal game with 220 yards total offense for the Colts.
And Andre Tippett, number 56. Watch this. Nice play in the backfield. The block is missed by Dixon. And Tippett makes the play. It's 3rd down and 2.
Good to see Andre back. He's been sidelined with a groin injury. All those good defensive players are back. Agnew's back today. Singleton, the other outside linebackers, back. Here's Jeff George standing in. Whoa, it's a pick. Patriots have the ball. Running with the ball down the field right now is Jerome Henderson, and he's inside the 30-yard line. Jeff George is down. And the Patriots already are in position to win this game. Folks up in the hub of the universe.
Tim Goad,
other chairs.
Tim Goad was in his face. But this play, Jerome Henderson, I mean, Jeff George had no business throwing this thing. I mean, I know he has to get it away, but he throws the ball right in the middle of the field.
Tim Goad.
Yeah, watch Tim Goad is there in his face, but watch where he throws the ball. He throws it right into the middle of the field, and it's up for grabs.
Room service interception. Jeff George's first throw of the day, if you weren't with us, was returned for a touchdown by David Poole of the Patriots. That tied the game. We're in overtime. John Vaughn runs it to the middle of the field. Be interesting to see if they risk a throw or elect just to keep the ball in the middle of the field, Paul, with draws and straight ahead power runs and just try to inch close enough to give Bauman a little bit more room.
I think that's exactly what they're going to do, is kind of work it back and forth. Right now, it would be about a 43 or 44-yard field goal. They've got to get. They don't have to, but they'd like to get a little bit closer.
John Vaughn. Colts make the hit. Knockdowns made at the 25-yard line.
That's Sergusa, 2 tackles in a row. That's, I said, a little bit closer. That was a little bit. That's 2 yards more.
This is really the most improbable game of the season, or certainly that we've seen, the way the Patriots keep coming back when they're seemingly history. They were down at one. There's Dwayne Saab calling on a higher power. I think that maybe we'll come out of this losing streak.
Calling Coach Mack. Now that's a higher power.
Zolak set to throw, wide open down the middle of the field is John Vaughn. Why kick a field goal when you might score a touchdown? He almost pirouetted in. Goodness.
The whole bench almost scored. But the whole bench almost scored. Everybody on the bench, they were on the field. You talk about too many guys on the field. When Vaughn was going to the goal line, we got a timeout. Jeff Arad is hurt. There's Scott's father. But the whole bench, I mean, all the officials had to do was look over on the sidelines. They had the whole team down there. They were running with Vaughn.
It's ironic. Last year, the last team in the NFL to be 0-9 was Indianapolis. That was a year ago. And on the 10th game of the season, they beat the Jets on the road. And today, the Patriots are this far away. This field goal attempt by Charlie Bauman of ending an 0-9 start with their first victory. Snap and set down, and the Patriots are in the win column. Look at this celebration.
Oh, they're booing here. Well, you know, Scott Zolak, you talk about something to remember. I guess hitting the ball 16 times helps, huh?
Yeah, rubbing that ball that Joe Montana gave him, and Charlie Bauman delivers the goods also. Every time he was called on today, he hit it, a pressure kick to tie the game, another to win it in overtime. And the Indianapolis Colts find themselves on the short end, and the mastery of the Patriots over Indianapolis continues. This is 4 straight years now that the Patriots have beaten the Colts here in Indiana. And it is the 14th time in the last 17 meetings that the Patriots have beaten the Colts. We'll be returning to the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis in a moment, where the Patriots have just won their first game 37-34.